The manual fade out is the bane of my existence, let me tell you guys. Oh my god. Alright, hold on. The window capture is fucked up. We really can't like do anything right on this Discord, but here we are doing things right, and we are live. Can you guys speak so I can get you tuned up?
Hello, I'm David. I'm so tired today, so this will be interesting.
I'm Morgan. I had breakfast pizza. Eli came into the room at like 10 and went, I want pizza. He ordered pizza at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was great.
That's fantastic.
Fun fact, Domino's opens at 10.
Domino's opens at 10. That's... Oh, no. Oh, Jesus Christ. I had no idea.
How you know that Domino's opens at 10?
I was so sad. I went to the cinema to do some training yesterday, and I came back home, and Tony had eaten the entire frozen pizza that I bought. It was like a flat crust chicken.
Our audio's gone for some fucking reason.
Woo!
Oh.
That's weird. Let me fiddle with some shit.
Yeah,
audio's working for me.
Tromboner, it's working.
Well, then it's not our problem.
It is a tad quiet.
It is a bit quiet. Okay. Well, I've got you guys as loud as you can be.
I'm also not the best hearing, so.
David ruined his hearing.
Yes. Playing on drums.
Luckily, I can use voice meter to boost you a little bit more. That's really weird, author man. If Trom can hear us though, I assume that everybody can hear us. Oh, hold on. We're waiting.
Wait.
Bated breath.
Hello?
Just look really surprised for whatever's coming. It's very important.
Sorry. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
I do that a lot where I mute.
Peak the audio.
So, fun fact about Twitch that I found out: if you mute the stream, it won't count your view. So what I do is I mute the site of Twitch on my Google, and then I forget that I muted it. And so then I'll be like, "Why isn't this stream working?" I'm like, "Oh, I muted all of Twitch."
Jesus Christ!
Not just their so.
But. Fantastic. I do the same thing. I just mute my tablet, and then I'm like, oh my god, my tablet's muted. What did happen there? And it's like, oh, well, you muted your tablet, dipshit. So you can give yourself one more view. Inflate your bullshit. Anyway, inflated bullshit aside, welcome back to the Stockroach stream. We want to get started with our land acknowledgement and introductions, and then we can get to screaming Stockle-doodle-doo really loudly.
Okay. Here, I can do the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Morgan.
So awesome. We acknowledge that in Milwaukee, we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes, where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnic rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. There you go. I keep going from people to Wisconsin's, so I go peoples, and I'm like, wait, no.
Well, that's not too big of an issue, all things considered.
I can pronounce all the names right.
My name is Ren. You guys are probably, at this point, I mean, I hope if you're turning in for the second stream in this weird series, you're familiar with us on some level. I'm a master's student at UWM, and the ARG boy with an I. Very important distinction. I'm joined by two other lovely individuals.
I'm David Kutchik. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
No,
I'm
introduce
David
yourselves
Kutchik.
at the same time, please.
I'm a second year PhD student here at UW Milwaukee, and usually I'm very energetic, but this stream I'm very tired, and I've got a big to-do list of things to do today. So I'm like conserving energy, so I'm sorry if I don't pop like I usually do. I mean, my mic will pop because I don't have a pop filter, but
it's not going to sparkle as he wants.
I'm not going to sparkle. I'm not going to shine.
You're always the star, David.
I am Morgan. I am a cultural anthropology master's student. And yeah, I am not the ARG boy. and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for like 7 packages to arrive today that were supposed to come tomorrow, and then Amazon was like, "You have 12 things coming today." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
That is, I mean, that's an ARG of sorts, really. Waiting for Amazon packages.
I
Packages.
I ordered like a new card from Discover because I lost my old one. Whoops. And it said it arrived, but it has not yet actually shown up to my door yet. So
Oh,
it'll be
man.
interesting to see what
Wait, it's
happens.
a card. Did they tell you it arrived like yes today? And they're like, "It
No,
arrived
it told you.
today."
It told me like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you should probably call Discover and be like, "Hey, we're
All
supposed to
right.
have a card."
Yeah.
So two
Sorry.
things before
Getting
we
off
get.
track.
Well, we're always off track. That's kind of the appeal. Two things before we truly get started. First of all, hold on. It has arrived, my friends.
Oh.
Here it is.
What has?
In all its glory. 34 Sonnets by
34
T.S.
Sonnets.
Roach. We will read this at the very end of everything. It is kind of an epilogue, or so I'm told, for the series. So as much as I'd love to start every stream with a wonderful sonnet, we will instead do them all at the end. And I'll obviously not for distribution, but I'll put up a Google Doc with all the sonnets typed up in it, or maybe I'll just scan all the pages at UWM so you guys have a copy of it to look at while we're going through it. It's a little more than just the sonnets, let me tell you. There are secrets in this here book for any of you wonderful money grubs who are thinking about buying it. One of them has been found. That's all I know. I think there are more. That's my gut. Anyway, another thing. Stuart Mouthrop, the lovely guy, after listening to me talk about Stockroach for too much, sent me this lovely piece, a chapter called American Fiction Without Recognition, JR, as well as another book chapter. And I'm not really sure exactly which book these come from, but they're about this piece by American fiction writer, I think William Gaddis, and his piece, JR, which is about a young boy who suddenly comes into a shitload of wealth and becomes a stockbroker. And I just want to read this little excerpt from the top of the chapter that's from JR's book. I think you might see some resonances.
Okay.
This here bond and stock stuff, you don't see anybody, you don't know anybody, only in the mail and the telephone, because that's how they do it. Nobody has to see anybody. You can be this here funny lookingest person that lives in a toilet someplace. How do they know? I mean, like all these guys in the stock exchange, where are they selling all this stock to each other? They don't give a shit whose it is. They're selling it back and forth for some voice that told them on the phone they should give a shit if you're 150, and it just goes on from there. But it's rambling and ridiculous and doesn't really understand what the fuck's going on about stocks. Interesting.
Sounds familiar.
Yes. I think I'm going to try and bring some interesting stuff as we go through this. But I don't know anything about JR, I'll be honest. I read this today, and there are some interesting ideas in here. Nothing worth to the point of like me pulling quotes or anything as we're going, but some things to think about. I might go and get a copy of JR and read it and see if it has any resonances. But it's like a 600-page book.
Oh,
and
You gotta love books that are over 300 pages.
honestly, the writer of that piece is just sitting around going, this is a really underappreciated piece of American fiction, which I think is basically how every American studies person feels about every book they've ever read.
absolutely.
So, take that with
I think everything I do is underappreciated. So.
It's like when you play like the Dreamcast, and you're like, oh wow, this is a underappreciated gem on the Dreamcast. Like everything on the Dreamcast was underappreciated.
Yeah, maybe the possible exception of Crazy Taxi, because people know about Crazy Taxi.
And Jet Set.
And Jet Set. Jet Set's fantastic. Maybe I have a copy of Jet Set. Maybe one day we'll play it on Serious Play. I do really like it.
Maybe.
Anyway,
Is it emulated? Can you emulate the Dreamcast?
It's a port, but yeah, you can emulate Dreamcast. So anyway, without further ado, let us get to the point of today, Stockroach. First, also, as we go into that, I want to say that Mediocre has officially gotten the document in a place where we can use it. We'll start using it next stream because it happened like 5 minutes before this stream. Tromb also sent us a treasure trove of documented stuff from Stockroach. So we can also go through that. Maybe I'll set up a SharePoint folder for it. It'll just be titled like Ludic Society Junk, and we'll just throw it all in there, and we can look through it as we want to.
Ooh, Eklim. Ooh, I get to block someone already. This is exciting.
Wow, this is fun.
Wow.
And another thing, while we're on the business end of starting things, we have received an official request from one Circle Hunter to cover Jadoozable after this. So we do take requests here on this show. If you have ARGs you want to see us talk about, send them my way. Or in some way, shape, or form, and we'll add them to the list, and we'll decide what we're going to do together. But I think, provided we don't get any other requests, we will attempt to cover the monster of Jadoozable.
You will win unanimously because there's no other suggestions.
Yeah, there are
And
not
you know
a lot
what
of
would be
suggestions, believe me.
perfect? You know what would be perfect is we can do a little crossover between our two shows.
Yes, we could.
Because Jadoozable is fan work, and so maybe we could do some Jadoozable on Sundays and then do a little bit of Majora's Mask playing on Tuesdays.
Ooh, that would be good. That'd be perfect. I like that, David. All right.
That sounds
so
spicy.
I've got the Majora's Mask randomizer, so
new stuff on
we can
the
talk
way.
about
Sorry.
what?
I was gonna say to the audience. So new stuff on the way.
New stuff on the way. We're gonna talk about Jadoozable and then also about glitches and all that good stuff on the N64. So
Yeah.
we'll relate it all together.
Today is Stockroach, so let's get to Stockroach. So what are we covering today? We are covering, let me switch over to the ARG screen and then fix the window capture because it's fucking awful and will not auto-detect anything. There we go. All right.
Gotta love
So, yeah, it's trying its best. I hope you guys enjoy a black screen for 5 seconds. So we are covering, also my cursor has disappeared. Look at that.
The same problem with David. Maybe it's a known issue with Streamlabs.
So we will be covering from how will the U.S. economy recover from the coronavirus up to hopefully mymovie2.mp4 and stopping just before investing in the ARG economy. And then we'll come back whenever we get a chance to come back and cover Stockroaches. A real thing. The Stockroach, the embedded ARG.
Good. Oh.
Yes. Levels of reality, my friends. All right, so
It's becoming the screenshot inception that he's been building in his videos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we could kind of, while you're getting things set up there, we should probably go over what we know. We know the guy is...
Sure.
The guy doesn't have any self-esteem. He seems like he's on, like, antidepressants or something.
Jesus.
He has daddy issues. And he has a dog named Champ.
I really can't tell you how hard it is to navigate stream. Like, I want to participate in this, and yet I'm having... Okay, there we go. Got it. Holy shit. What is Streamlabs doing to me? And why can I see my cursor on the screen capture, but I can't see it on my computer desktop? This is something. Anyway, go on. You were saying about what you
and then he has a crush on a girl named Ashley, I think. And he likes Ginyu Force. That's what I've... David, is that roughly what you remember?
Yeah, I would say that's around the extent of my knowledge, of my memory.
Ginyu Force is where we... I guess Ginyu Force is where we left off. He does really like Ginyu Force.
I mean, I feel like Ginyu Force always comes up. Okay, but like, where did we left off somewhere. We were talking about capitalism and how he understands real wealth and such.
We also talked a little bit just about like historical, like how this is placed in the historical milieu of today.
Yeah, we did.
Specifically we talked about like the market crash in 2008.
Yeah, and how people interpreted it depending on generations and things.
Right.
We all found out that we are younger than everyone who was watching our stream.
Yes, we were all impacted by the crash differently. By the way, I want to turn on closed captions. Is there a hotkey for this? Because I don't know if I can do it without
C.
C?
Yeah, when you're clicked on the video,
thank
you say
God.
C, 'cause
Wonderful.
C, because I accidentally put C as one of my hotkeys in Final Fantasy, and I always turn on captions in my Google on my YouTube.
Does F happen to be? Yep, it does happen to be a full screen hotkey. Thank fuck for YouTube thinking ahead, because Streamlabs is totally trying to kill the stream right now. Let me tell you, this is like the hardest I've ever had to do anything in my life. I'm having to use like Alt Tab to change things. Ugh, what a horror
This is
show.
what David was doing on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Plug for the Pokemon stream from Tuesday.
How did you do that?
That was I have no idea.
Here,
I was pressing
Google.
buttons, and I don't know.
All right, let's do the first episode today. How will the U.S. economy recover from the coronavirus? And maybe we'll answer that question.
It'll be
Stockadootle-doo to the money grubs from the Stockroach. It is so nice to see your faces again. It's been a pretty long time. This is what I look like now. I've got stronger muscles.
Very
got
buff.
my wings out. Staying Stockroach strong. So
He's
everything's
got $2
going great
now
for me.
too.
You're probably wondering or noticing that this is the first video I've made in a long time.
Just so you can see this.
Oh, he needs to brush his teeth. He needs a reminder.
The reminders to take medicine 1, take medicine 2, and then brush teeth.
Oh, and Yom Kippur's on there. I don't know if that means he's Jewish or if that just means it's it's already on there.
Yeah, that's a standard one from calendars.
Gotcha.
Nice. As a reminder to the stream, anytime you want me to pause, you can put something in the chat and I will do my best. It will be a lot harder without my cursor. But, oh, my cursor's back. What the fuck?
It's a thing. Don't worry about it.
Never mind. We're back to normal. Tell me when you want to pause and, all that shit.
I actually have not made a video since approximately February, which was a good month for me. But not for you, because that's when Stockroach stopped showing up on your YouTube desktop.
My YouTube desktop.
So the reason.
Oh yeah,
let's
go
back. Let's go back.
We gotta pause on the diary. Would anyone like to do a dramatic reading?
No.
Oh, I got it then. I can't believe I was actually excited to go back to school. It was just as terrible as it has ever been, except worse, because Michael heard my medicine alarm go off and told everyone he saw me go to the nurse's office. So now everyone is making fun of me for having coronavirus. I wish they would all get coronavirus, and then at least I would feel like I'm the same as the other kids instead of always being different. Also, I have so much homework to catch up on since February. Anyway, I'll do it later. I have to make a new Stockroach video. Lol.
So let's say we got yesterday.
I don't get why guys are always talking about something.
They're always talking about sex. I don't know. That's just...
What are you guys always talking about? What are you guys always talking about?
To do on Sunday is change bandages.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And then Monday, what if I never feel any different than...
Assumingly like the way I feel now or something like that. Drawing is the best hope for getting into college.
No, here's the secret. What if I never feel any different than the wah? Waluigi.
Wah!
Yeah.
Wah!
Right,
and then Tuesday, Mom keeps telling me Champ can't get coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Champ can't get coronavirus, but he can carry it.
Free will versus computer programming, which does sound like an intro English 101 essay that I've read somewhere or another.
Or you wrote.
I did not write. I swear I did not write that one, all right?
And then list of big thoughts 4, list of big thoughts 5. These are like shower thoughts. From September 30th, dinosaurs transported to present/future ? Well, that's Jurassic Park, and we all know how that went.
Yeah. Now we have to do both our best Stockadootle-do at the end of the stream, and also, please remind me, a Jeff Goldblum laugh for posterity.
I can lay on the couch later. I can do that.
All right. Anyway. I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
Is he trying to censor Michael?
Yes, it does
Like
appear.
Okay. So this is
asterisking.
this is a little kids. This is how we know he's a kid. It's another little reminder because it's hip with the kids these days, and also the gays who are basically kids.
Thanks, David.
I mean, you said it. I didn't say it.
When you don't like someone, right, or you're like being like playfully like, it's a weird thing where like it, because obviously the asterisk used to be like swear words, right? You would put like F asterisk CK, and then now it's evolved into this whole thing where people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm watching, or like, Michael Sarah. I don't know what I'm trying
Michael
to say.
Seraph?
Michael Sarah, and they'll do like C asterisk RA for some reason. I don't know why. That'll be a random thing. I don't know why that came into my head, you guys. I'm so tired.
So, is this
but
so?
but
Is
it's
this
also
really
but
a
it's
youth
also
culture
like
thing?
used as like a actual thing where people are like, I just don't want to talk about this person, but I kind of do, so I'm just gonna put like one asterisk there.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Chom Boomer, that the medical descriptions don't sound like COVID related.
Yes, and we'll get into that as we go. Like, it will become more and more apparent. I do think it's interesting, and maybe, like, again, I don't want to spend too much time here because we have to get through all it, and then we can come back and talk. But I do want to pick up on, is Stockroach queer culture, kind of, because it's got little moments.
I want to
in
hear
it,
your theories.
That are really interesting. Anyway, returning.
Sure.
His Stockroach queer culture. I really outdo myself with these thoughts.
So the reason that I haven't been around very much for you
Eli's
lately,
trying to talk to me. I'm gonna go
is
turn off
that
mute for a second.
back in February
No worries.
something very strange happened to me, and it started out as a cough. But around late February, it actually turned into something much more special than that, which is that I was in the hospital for 8 months with the coronavirus. And people always ask me, like, what's so special about that? You say something special. What's special about the coronavirus is that a lot of people look at it as an illness, whereas the Stockroach and all the money grubs look at it as an opportunity. Excuse me. So what is the coronavirus an opportunity to do? And one of those things is that when you're lying in a hospital bed, you get to think some really big thoughts, which is nothing new for me. I think big thoughts all the time.
Here we go. Yes. Oh, yes. The list of big thoughts. The cruelty of man.
So I will say COVID-19 being as an opportunity, like watching like anti-MLM stuff, because that's a guilty pleasure of mine. I just like watching people dunk on fake gurus and anti-MLM stuff. It's very prevalent to say COVID-19 isn't an issue, it's an opportunity. Like, you're at home, this is the perfect time to start your business, you don't got a job, this is great. So when, like, COVID-19 being an opportunity is very prevalent among those people.
Well, and
which is shitty, but it's a thing.
So what I'm trying to figure out is did he actually get it, or is he saying he got it? You know what I mean? That's the question.
Well, you'll see again, like all is to be revealed in a very obvious way. But you are right, Teddy, asking questions about whether or not coronavirus really is like what this comes down to. I think it's interesting because like even the people who aren't MLM people are sitting there and being like, now is a great time to start your own business or make your website or write your novel. And they've been doing it since the fucking pandemic started. It's irritating as piss. Again, we can bookmark that, and then once we get through the video, talk about it for a little bit. But like, oh my God, yeah, that is a place to go. The list of big thoughts. What if dogs had biceps?
They do.
They do.
But what if they had like
They don't.
What if they had human biceps though?
They
have
what
biceps.
do
They
have?
have
biceps.
Ripped arms.
Dogs and humans have like the same muscle structures.
Wouldn't
Dogs
they?
and cats.
Wouldn't those be? Because they're all legs, so wouldn't they be all like quadriceps?
No, because the dog's front legs are different than their back legs.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, they're different from ours. But like they don't quite work the same way. Like they have different shoulder girdles, but they're relatively the same.
A quad of
like
quads.
Cats also have biceps. I remember dissecting a cat in anatomy class, and they're like, the muscle structure of cats are exactly the same as humans.
That's weirdly morbid, but also great. All the water in the world has probably been peed out of something at some point.
Yes.
Well, I mean, especially with like ocean water, like it's there's a bazillion animals that are filtering it too, like clams and a lot of those bicuspids. You know, they filter water through themselves. Plus all the peeing. You know.
Yeah.
All the peeing. Even the longest relationship you have is still just temporary because of death.
Father-son relationships through history. So,
oof.
Yeah, those last two, as Trom puts, very telling, very important.
Very telling.
Some of the more funny ones, though. The dictionary has more words than any other book. Hilarious. Coronavirus, blessing versus curse. Obviously, that turned into a video idea. People's height is really just relative.
Yes, it
is true. I'm glad he's getting into some Borgia.
List of stuff I like.
Girls, anime, money, finally being happy.
Y'all, this pains me as like a former high school teacher. I'm like, oh, this kid, I know this kid.
Yeah.
I had like 10 versions of this kid in my class.
All in the same time, just 10 different versions of them.
Basically.
Oof. To continue.
See here, but when I was in the hospital, I started to think about my biggest thought of all, which is how will the economy recover from the coronavirus? And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, Money Grubs.
Oh yeah, girls has the biggest boobs up there. just so
why
you know.
not talk?
I would argue Dwayne The Rock Johnson might have the biggest boobs, but you know, we'll see.
Or Vin Diesel.
So I'm just gonna pull up.
Or Vin Diesel.
It's not about the boobs; it's about family.
Sorry about that.
We missed a diary entry. No.
Oh, did we? We have to go back. We have to go back.
Before he clicked on the note.
The one he throws away here? Is that correct?
No, a little bit more.
I am going to pull up
a little further back.
Oh, a little further back. Okay.
They said after he clicked on the note.
Economy recover.
Yes, there we go. We can see the full one. Here we go. I don't get why guys are always talking about which girls have the biggest boobs. Why not talk about which girls has the biggest dreams or the biggest thoughts?
All right, so we're literally reading Betty Friedan, like part of Betty Friedan's book for class tomorrow, and I'm like, this is it.
This is it.
I feel like
Betty Friedan. Sorry. Anyway.
I feel like if Ashley and I were ever together, we would have a lot to talk about because I could tell that she dreams big like me. I can tell that based on how she looks, which is beautiful.
Which is how big her boobs are.
Which is how big her boobs are.
For a second, I thought he was going to say she's based.
Right?
For a second, I thought he was going to say she's based.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
that.
oof.
Is that lingo? What's
based, Ashley? It's internet slang for like something being really good or really important, essentially. I mean, there's more nuance to it in that, and it's also like popular amongst the 4chan crowd. But everybody says based at this point.
I've never heard the term based.
Are you familiar with the phrase "all your base belong to us"?
Well, yes, I do, because I yes.
It comes out of that lineage.
Oh, okay.
It also had this like has some alt-right leanings at some points.
Yeah. Oh, it's 4chan, so everything has some alt-right leaning at some point. But like based, with like all your base belong to us, how did that morph into being base?
A long history of weird internet slang and memes, let me tell you.
Which is
But
really hilarious because I remember watching All Your Base Belong to Us, the Bohemian Rhapsody parody of that on YouTube.
it's from is it from base? Oh man, I am wrong. Super Yeet TV has corrected me. See, this is why we need a fucking full Twitter just so for me to post corrections.
It's from Lil B.
It's from
I
Lil
was
B,
gonna
the
be
bass
very
guy.
confused if it actually was from All Your
I
Base
thought it
Belong
was
to
from
Us.
All Your
And I'm like,
Bass.
how do you get from All Your Base, which is English, to that? But who knows? All right, we have figured this out.
Look at that. Look at me being wrong. Somebody should clip that bullshit so that I can never so I can never live out my
All right, but
shitty
okay.
bad actions.
So we got our Dear Diary. She still likes Ashley. Nothing much has changed since then.
Well, yeah, that's true. Let's continue.
About my biggest thought of all, which is how will the economy recover from the coronavirus? And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, Money Grubs. So I'm just gonna pull up a little slide.
Note memories of dad.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
I am going to
Did you
pull
just
up
throw those all away?
Yep.
a special thing.
Okay.
Poor little guy. The more I
Which
watch him,
is
the more I just envision him as like a
in
little kid.
Drawings of the hospital angel and drawings of the hospital devil.
It's a slideshow. A slideshow
Yeah.
of the economic recovery from the coronavirus, which has a lot of different names that you could call it by the Stockroach. So the first question to think about when we're thinking about the recovery of the economy of the coronavirus is, what is the economy? A lot of people think of the economy as a collection of basically dollar bills. You've got $100 bills, you've got $500 bills, you've got different types of presidents.
Yep, Euclid's S. Grant is on the $5,000 bill.
But really, when you get down to it, the economy is like a person. The economy is like a human being. It's got hydrogen, it's got nitrogen. There are other things involved, numbers. There's 65% of 65% of a human being is sexual, and that's the same as the economy. So if the economy is like a person, then you can go back and forth in the ways that you think about things.
Gotta love it.
So I think the best way
upside down too
to think about the recovery of the economy from coronavirus is actually to think about the way that a human being recovers from coronavirus. So here I made, on a human level, the chart of my recovery from the coronavirus. We have the level of my strength versus the number of the days that I had it. I started out kind of average, not too strong, not too weak, just perfect right in the middle. And then I get coronavirus, and you can see the level of strength dropped within 1 day. It was gone. And that's where I hung out for about 8 months. I was weak. I couldn't stand very often. A lot of simple things were hard to do, like eating, like drinking. I could still type, but I could not draw as well as I used to. This is where I was for a number of days, until I was given a new form of medicine. And then, as you can see, my strength began to increase. And it actually continued increasing.
We're not going to go there.
I don't think we should go there.
All the way up into what's considered above average on the top section of the graph. And then when they released me from the hospital, I was able to maintain a steady level of strength. Now, if we apply this reasoning to the U.S. economy, you can see that instead of a strength of body, it's a strength of dollar signs. The number of dollar signs when we get the coronavirus will drop down to 0. This is something all economists agree on. But what all other economists agree on, furthermore, is that if the economy is given a new form of medicine, whether that be a shot or a pill or a liquid or vice versa, what have you, the strength and number of dollars in the economy will rise until I am released from the hospital. It's
Well,
not that
he
I'm
is
in the
released from the hospital.
Stockroach
anymore.
is the economy.
That's what some people say, and it's not true. I can tell you that right now.
I mean, it is a kind of an
When we
apt
get
metaphor.
released from the hospital, I fully expect that the U.S. economy.
Ooh, what's that?
Take medicine.
So, if you probably hear a ringing sound right now, that's the sound of my phone ringing. It's because one of my more powerful clients is calling me, and it's not the kind
My
of
more powerful
phone call I
clients.
can pass up. So that's it for me today. I gotta go. Stock-a-doodle-doo. What?
He's still.
I'm taking it right now. Jeez.
Indeed.
There you go.
That is his bed alarm, and not a phone call. Indeed.
Yep. So we've got a lot of shit we want to talk about. So let's talk about it, our friends.
Yeah, I agree with Boomer. That he's kind of hinting that he's still in the hospital. Yeah, totally. Because it's like when I get out of the hospital, everything will be good.
The
It'll be
world
over
doesn't
for you all.
go further than Stockroach for the most of this, I think, which is a very high schooler way of, doing things on some level. I mean, it does go further than him in certain instances, but mainly because for the people that he cares about, I think specifically.
Yeah. Which is also very typical high schooler. Their brains literally can't conceive of things outside themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like when he first showed the first graph, and he was like, "Oh, new medicine," and then I got better. It was like, there's no medicine for the coronavirus. It could just be that he's not in there for coronavirus, and then he was like 5150 or something, like where they put him into a hospital for something else, but he's calling it coronavirus so he could cover that up. Especially if he's been there since February, which he kind of implied when he's like, I have a lot of homework to catch up since February. It's like, oh, you've been in the hospital since February, so kind of implies he's not in there for coronavirus.
Groovy Lobster points out a very important point, which is, quote, I don't know. He said it was a client. I don't think he would lie.
Especially how he describes it happening one day, all of a sudden his health was 0. Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can kind of, like, that is actually pretty much a reality of some people's experience with coronavirus, that sometimes it will just kick you, and then you can't breathe, and it's awful. That's my understanding of it anyway. I was lucky enough not to be affected by coronavirus, at least not in a way that was symptomatic at any point in time.
Yeah.
Not to, of course, I know other people have really been hit hard,
Like, should I point out what I think he's actually in there, or wait for y'all? Had COVID, can't confirm.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Groovy Lobster. I hope that you have fully recovered. Tron Boomer, let us decide along the way, or you can just hold it into yourself and get like bottled up and just be really angry about it, or not getting what you're guessing.
I of course know what Tron Boomer is pointing at. I know where this is going. I promise you, it is like, while it's not a fully fleshed out reveal, you will eventually get the answer to the question. It is way more interesting than just what you think it is right now, but I can't, I don't want to spoil it for you. It's like when we were talking about something else the other day. Oh yeah, we were talking about like the slight hintings that maybe he's like curious about men, and then talking about that pays off later, and we'll get there. But I also think, like, again, like to go back to the point that you made, David, about that particular piece of linguistics. Is that just like where is that situated? Because now you've got me curious. You know, like is that specifically a queer culture thing, replacing the letter, or is that just a young people culture thing?
I think it's just a young people culture thing and people trying to be hip. Hip with the kiddos.
Hip with the kiddos.
But I mean, I just know that adult gay men use it as well because I follow them on Twitter. So
gotcha. It's worth bringing up. I do think it would be it's interesting to one of the things that comes out of the this piece, the American fiction without recognition piece, is the conception of JR as a Bildungsroman, which I don't know if you guys are relatively familiar with that story structure. Yeah. I mean, so there's a question, I think, as far as if we're looking at the possibility of these two works being related in some way, as to whether Stockroach qualifies as some kind of modern coming of age story. And we'll get there, obviously, and have some more to talk about at the very end about it. But I do wonder, especially with the direction that exploring his sexuality goes, if there's something to that particular consideration of, is this a story in some ways about coming out, Yes. Yeah.
Indeed.
I know I felt very seen as far as somebody who was struggling with that sort of thing in high school. Anything else you guys want to bring up about this episode?
I have my sneaking suspicions as to why he's in the hospital, but I'll hold on to them for now.
Ooh, but you should tell us. You should.
Well, it's kind of triggering, so I'm not going. Yeah.
I see.
I feel like the scars and the thing in the hospital and the
bandages.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like there might have been some kind of self-harm involved with this. Either in like one big attempt or various attempts throughout the last couple of months.
That's
the vibe I got.
I'm on a similar road to David.
That is an interesting take. That's not what I recall being the way it ends up working out. But now that you pointed out, there is definitely some subtext in that regard. I think there is like a lot of like struggle with the sense of self, to get kind of, and more not just in that like normal teenage way, and like a very like I don't really have a lot of self-worth and I don't know how to deal with that kind of way.
Yeah.
Not to psychoanalyze the Stockroach or anything.
What is he dreaming about? That is the question.
Mediocre is here as well.
Oh,
hello.
Wonderful. Welcome, Mediocre. To reveal.
Also, just to celebrate everyone, we have 18 viewers right now, which is awesome.
Woo!
Yeah, thank
you all for coming today. It's been an hour and we've only looked at one video. So that's
Let's continue. Let us continue.
If you guys feel like we don't, actually there was one more point that we talked about kind of during the video that I think I want to come back to, which is now we're hitting into the coronavirus stuff, which I know he told you was coming, but like. We were talking a little bit last time about the Bing search bar being like this weird historiography component where you can suddenly figure out what time things are happening in. When we're talking about this now, ivermectin comes up because, of course, that's hot in the news right now. Joe Rogan immediately comes to mind when you talk about ivermectin. But it's interesting that, like, and I don't think it's something that the game could have predicted, but it certainly situated us as players right now. The coronavirus thing has not fucking ended. And even now, it still feels like we are in the same historical frame as that episode in some ways for me because it hasn't ended.
Yeah.
And I think it just changes things interestingly. But that's something I just wanted to say. So let's rocket through the next, I think, 2, and then we'll stop and have another bit of a conversation about it because the next 2 are shorter entries that fold into each other well.
Okay, and I'll be quiet.
Let me make sure there isn't other shit I need to cover while we're kind of going around. Yes. Okay. So here, this post was made on October 26th. They cram in. So here's the thing. I'm constantly surprised by the human brain's ability to rearrange letters when they are super out of order. But even I have a hard time reading some of this stuff. I really don't know what this is supposed to say.
It might have been they what?
Yeah, thanks,
Oh, that's
mediocre.
mediocre.
Maybe it was like a butt dial. A butt tweet.
Important
Well,
thing
there's
to
definitely
note.
like there's again and some synapses, so like synapses or instances.
Instances affect. I really don't has
Oil.
to.
Hello.
Tom
Yeah.
Booner says, I believe that was Night Roach.
Yes, and then we get.
That
I
was
am so
Night
sorry.
Roach.
I don't remember writing this lol. Which
Mhm.
interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on Reddit, we get a bunch of posts where he's interacting with people on YouTube again. Please share this with your friends for prosperity. His
Increasing value.
Stockroach stuff and increasing value. Here's another fun one. There are a billion reasons I want to learn Japanese, but to be honest, the thing that is keeping me going right now is I have a girl I have a crush on in my Japanese class. I want to be able to write her a love letter in Japanese by the end of the year, which is very sweet and very cute and less
Y'all,
weeby than
this
the
is-
rest of the stuff.
That is weeb extreme. Stockroach came to my 7th hour class in high school, like when I was teaching high school, and observed all of the weebs in my classroom and then made a story out of it. I want royalties. This is such a like this is and the essence of a weeby high schooler, and I love it.
Can confirm being friends with weeby people in high school. That is exactly why they took Japanese class, because we actually had Japanese class in my high school for a few years. Well, I was there, and then for a long time before that, they took Japanese to be able to read anime.
Oh yeah, that's a
And
pretty
two,
good
to
weeb
write
reason.
really cringy Japanese love letters to each other.
I do. I like. There is something very
Exactly why people
sincere
took Japanese
about
classes.
wanting to write your friend in your Japanese class a love letter versus wanting to translate the anime you engage with. I think that's what I mean when I say it's less weeby. It's not that it's less weeby. It's that it's not as cringy.
Yeah, to me, I see that and I'm like, I know the type of person that does this.
I've learned by the sword. That's who.
Yes.
That's who does that.
Oh God, yes. I have
studied the blade.
Let's just say he has the power of God and anime on his side. You know?
I do think Stockroach has the power of God and anime on his side.
He has
the
the power
Captain
of Ginyu
Ginyu
Force.
Force.
Have you seen the Ginyu Force? Okay, we're off topic. Let's continue.
Okay. So there's a bunch of other stuff here, and it all kind of slams together. So we'll come back to this later. Meanwhile, on the Facebook page, there's some stuff in November 3rd celebrating stuff, but that's for later as well. More drawings. This one is relevant. Stay alive, Stockroach. You can do it. We love you so much.
Oh.
Yeah. Untitled 2. This is one of my favorite drawings from when I was in the hospital. The nurses were so beautiful, and I'm proud of them for keeping me alive.
I'm so proud of you for keeping me alive. The way that he says it, it's sad that he was in the hospital, but also.
Yeah. Ooh, thanks, Stevie.
You gotta join the largest community in the world.
Yes. There's also this image, but we will get to that just now on the YouTube channel. So let us continue forward on YouTube. Again, we're gonna watch the next 2 episodes, and then we can, or maybe 2 or 3, and then we'll talk about them all at once, essentially.
Okay.
Because they're short. They're like 1:30.
Yo, what's up, Money Grubs? So you all know just as well as I do that here at the Stockroach, we are all about building prosperity, not just for ourselves, but for the people who care about us and the people who show us love. And I think that it's important when someone shows you love to say "I love you" back to, well, not "I love you," but if some to say thank you, for example, back to them. And I want to acknowledge today that somebody has said "Hello, Stockroach" to me, and
wait, can we do a little pause here?
Yeah, we can pause here. Do you want to see?
Sorry, I just wanted to see. Yeah, the emails.
Yeah, so you can see the email thing. I don't think there's anything of value here, but I'm sure Tron will say. Okay. He said there's some bookmark pages there, so we can go back and look at that if you'd like. Which
sure. We got Facebook, Microsoft, YouTube, DeviantArt, Reddit.
Oh yeah, it's the
standard.
same set. There's the Untitled Paint online thing, but that's just about it.
Gotcha.
So moving forward. Unless Trom points out something
It
else, in which case
means-
I'll just go do that.
And
Unofficial guide, Trom.
I want to say that it means something to me, not just for my wealth creation, but for your wealth creation also. And
For me, for you, for
I
me,
wanted to.
for you.
I just want this out there on YouTube. How much the little guys mean to me. You don't have to be a billionaire to be friends with a billionaire. So, Night Scorpion, while I have you here, I just want to say Stockdoodle-doo.
Stockkadoodle-doo.
And that's it from the Stockroach.
Bye, bud.
There we go. All right.
All right, so when
Thank
he
you,
clicks
everybody.
in the tab or the search bar. that's
Actually, this
correct.
is kind of important. You can now see his email and his actual name.
Oh, good.
Jerome Gilbert.
Jeremy.
Gilbert.
Oh, sorry.
He was covering up the Y, so I understand.
Thank you.
All
everybody.
right.
Close that.
So Tom Boomer says when he clicked in the tab or the search bar.
Maybe we
Say
can
that
get
somebody
some
has
stuff there.
said
Because he does click into...
not I love you, but it shows you love to say I love you back to not to.
Well, I guess it'd be here.
And-
This ARG, man. It's something else.
do that here at the Stockroach. We are all about building.
Yes, here we go. Okay. Bookmarks history. Philosophy, past lives while in hospital, professional dog walker salary, puberty side effects male, prettiest anime girls, pretty anime girls, piano tuner, Long Beach.
Long Beach. Okay, because
Yeah, because we knew he was in California.
Yeah, piano tuner.
But when he's looking at death, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Yep. Plato.stanford.edu. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. Pizza Hut, a good Google suggestion. Thanks, Google. So then moving forward, we then get the thank you episode 1. Thank you video 1, new episode coming soon.
All right, Money Grubs. This is just going to be a quick little video. I'm not someone who's the kind of guy to
Do check the searches, the tabs he has open here.
What is an ARG?
ARG.
to play the numbers game, but I do want to acknowledge when something really amazing and magical happens. And I think we're in the midst of something that is magical, because 34 is actually my favorite number, for a lot of reasons that I'm not going to go into today. But what I do want to do is that the money grub, being a money grub and being a Stockroach is not just about making money. It's also about showing appreciation. It's about saying thank you. It's about being there for each other. So I want to say a couple thank yous today. I want to say thank you to Shinegi Ken. Thank you. To Autumn. Thank you. To Mario 64, thank you. To Wona J, thank you. To Steek Leets, thank you. And to Eric Medley, thank you. Thank you for your support. And now it's my turn to give you back with my support. Thank you.
It's very sweet. He cares a lot about everybody who follows him, which is very, very kind.
34 sonnets. I just got that. Why is it his favorite number? Because 34 is a good, 34.
It is a good number. I will agree with
Good
that.
number, 34.
And now to the next long episode, Stockkadoodle-doo FAQs.
Oh, do we get the intro song?
Stockadoodle FAQ, Stockadoodle FAQ. What can Stockadoodle for you?
Moving around the screen, it really
All
makes
right,
it.
Money Grubs. So if the theme song didn't give it away, you could probably guess from the drawing that today is going to be all about FAQs. You sent in a lot of really good FAQs. Champ, be quiet. And I'm really excited to. Oh.
Oh.
I'm really excited to get started on this, so let's just dive in. Stock-a-doodle-doo. Question number 1. I love this. Start out with an easy question. How's life going? And I think
Oh.
Yes, this is a really important one. Dear Diary, the angel who could... Oh, God, this is... Who would used to come for me in the hospital. I'm going to struggle really hard with some of this stuff. That I saw her... What if I see again the angel? She's... Is this Night Roach text, Trom? I think this might be Night Roach text. You might just want to kind of like scan this with your eyes, because I don't know if I can read this. It's maybe now is a good time to quickly explain Night Roach. So there is another, you may have gotten the sense that there are things that Stockroach writes that Stockroach doesn't remember writing. There's a reason for that. The fans, mainly Trom, I think has coined this. They call him the Night Roach because he only comes out at night. He's like a sleepwalking persona. He is
Is Stockroach is Night Roach also the one that poured syrup in his bed?
Again.
I wonder. He does complain about fucking, what is it? All the food moving around, I think, in the first episodes. Trump says, I don't think I coined it. Okay, well, if you know who did, it's a fun thing. But you'll notice it's actually kind of amazingly complex that, you know, there are variations in the way that Stockroach writes things down, to the point where if I'm reading garbled text that's from the Night Roach, it is distinct from garbled text that is being written by the Stockroach, you know?
Well, typically the ones with Stockroach is like, I woke up with syrup in my bed, and then you have again that's misspelled.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of monocomm. There's a high percentage of Stockroach's writings that is understandable, probably over 60%, I would say, but the other 40-ish is not correct.
Yeah, so this is just it's really hard to read. It is really important stuff. The other thing about Night Roach is that Night Roach relies a lot more on repetition than Stockroach does. So you'll notice like the same word repeated 2 or 3 times when that word is important to be emphasized, which is something he doesn't do. He'll repeat a phrase sometimes, but he won't repeat individual words in a kind of poetic way. Here you get the end, poor Jeremy Gilbert, or I think it's supposed to be Gilbert.
Well, Gilbert is spelled correctly.
Yeah. Jeremy with the money gone when daddy leaves behind no money, like a carpet have spots on it. It says the virus come to... Yeah, so it's really hard to tell exactly what's going on here. I know Mediocre is working on those transcriptions, and maybe that's what we should do, is we should come back to this with a transcription, just, you know, make sure we read this next time. But
looking at his other ones,
yeah,
poem idea, I will carve your name. That is from Friday.
I wonder if that actually shows up in 34 sonnets. I will carve your name, or if it appears on. It might appear on the Deviant art. All of the poems link back some way to the to those weird little notes. Like, there's so many hints for them. It's kind of amazing how much the poems are set up. Anyway, Falcon drawing, that's on the list of things to do.
Ask Twitter for Stockroach FAQs.
Yes.
And then I think there's another Night Roach one on Saturday. Soon.
It appears that this is about the like devil and angel that he talks about earlier in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that the virus is given to him, quote, by the devil, whatever the heck that means. Yeah, I mean, it's just super hard to parse, and you know, he wakes up with a whole chicken in his bed at some point. Oh my God, Trom.
I look forward to that.
That'll be a great one to read. Yeah, let's continue on.
I can answer this in one word. It's going very, very great. It's going very great. And thank you very much to...
That's 3 words.
This person for asking. I couldn't quite read your signature. Question 2. We got thanks I saw. Not sure what that's in reference to. What stocks do you currently have? I think this is a great question for a beginner investor. For me, the best way to find out what stocks I have is I basically I look at something called the Dow Jones, which you can get to on
Jowdones.
search.
Jowdones.
No.
The Jowdones.
What is an ARG? Is Stockroach real or an ARG? How do I know if I'm an ARG? Can an ARG die? And the most important question, can an ARG get a girlfriend?
Fox News quarantine?
Yes, we're back to this stuff.
No, Amy Coney Barrett. No.
No.
That's the real horror ARG.
Oof.
Supreme Court, honey.
The real American ARG.
Yeah.
Discord.
Oh yes, there's a couple clicked on links there that flash by.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on, where is it? Yes, Jane Eyre Spark Notes PDF. Jazz How to Play.
Jane Eeyore.
Jane Eyre. So there you go.
Beautiful.
There it is. It usually pops up so you can just click it and hit enter. And this number,
That's the
2700
stocks
and something. That's approximately that's the number. That's the number of stocks that I am interested in. But I tend to buy about 2.2% of the total.
Huh?
So again, it's a very complicated subject. I'll probably do a 4 or 5 hour video on this pretty soon. But I hope that'll get you started out. Thank you, Night Scorpion. Next, we got Hey Stockroach. I'm interested in like a great investment. I'm interested in like a great investment opportunity. I love this because it tells me about your enthusiasm, and you're just a great opportunity. Is the Jowdones.
So
Don't go for more
The
than 2%
Jowdones.
of it unless you
The-
are an expert investor. Thank you, Vicky.
Here, pause it.
Then we got Hey
Hey, mediocre.
Stockroach.
That's a mediocre question.
Oh yeah. The last line was experiencing some nasty side effects.
Yeah,
Any nasty side effect, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I think it might be a question about the coronavirus stuff, if I had to make a
Ah.
guess. But yeah, he keeps cropping them into increasingly tiny shit. Yeah, as mediocre points out, half a mediocre question.
Well, it's quite the mediocre question if you're only seeing half of it.
No, no.
I'm sorry, I had to go
happened?
for it.
You're on the up, and I gotta agree with you. This channel is on the up. I
Mediocre,
think
did you think
all that has happened is that there is public interest in investments, and it's a great time to be a money grub. So, Stockadooldledo. Thank you, Melchior. Last but not least, we have one of my favorite FAQs, which is my spirit animal is a falcon. Therefore, it's my favorite animal. And all I have to say to that, my money grubs, my friends, is
The reveal's coming.
Stockadoodledoo.
So good. Yeah, actually, no, we will. I should point out, just looking at his desktop quickly, the one thing is this untitled -2.png, which might come up later, but otherwise you're good to go. So that's a few Stockroach episodes out of the way in regular old fashion. Thoughts, comments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems pretty straightforward as of right now.
He's just
Like nothing really jumped out
listening.
at me. Besides
Night-
like the Night Roach stuff, obviously, but
Right.
Night Roach stuff is gonna be interesting to see.
First episode, David, you brought up Kafka and the Metamorphosis. Am I
Yes.
right to remember that for at least the opening part of that story, the roach is in the bed?
yes.
Yeah.
And then his dad throws an apple at him that gets stuck in his wing. Sorry. Anyway.
Forgot about that part. That's a great detail to remember.
I know. I remember that because of Quiz Bowl.
There's this like
Oh
the
my
Night
God.
Roach, I think, is the Kafka-esque element of this. You know, at night changing into something that then in some way impacts an underlying part of your psyche, right? Which is a very vague way of talking about the metamorphosis, because it's obviously doing a hell of a lot more than that. But so is the Night Roach. I mean, there's a lot of
The Night
questions to be
Roach.
asked, like, how did the fucking Night Roach thing start happening? And then somebody who's
Seems like it's a
struggled with
new
dissociative disorders, usually the answer is extreme trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it could be somewhat of a medication thing, not quite as like some medications do have like sleepwalking, or sleepwalking things can be impacted with medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely seems, if it's like recurring, it could be a side effect or something, but also like it could definitely be a dissociative disorder. But if it's happening at night, like sleep's weird. We don't know anything about sleep. Fun fact. We know like the bare minimum of sleep. We're like, this is when you dream. I don't know. So, but it'll be interesting to see. My own little Stockroach joke.
You didn't see that because you weren't watching. Oh, you guys are watching this in the Discord, but I clicked onto Trom's and my DMs. I'm Stockroach. No, but yes, and I mean it's interesting though. Like, obviously, night metamorphosis, these kinds of ideas, and I don't want to get into like psychoanalyzing characters because I don't think it's super fruitful ever. But I do think he's created this dichotomy. And it's a dichotomy that exists in a series that already has a dichotomy present, in that there's the investor Stockroach and then the guy Stockroach. There's Jeremy and there's the Stockroach.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping in, Groovy Lobster.
Oh, thank you so much, Groovy. I think we should give. No, never mind. But yeah, I mean, it's a. You've got this like dichotomy going on. You've got a third dichotomy, but what's interesting is that the choice to represent himself as Stockroach is a conscious decision, and yet he's also having this unconscious element as well, which is then professing in some ways to say that his conscious mind is not properly representing himself either. Yeah. There's layers of this like false persona thing going on.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know how to unwrap that, but it does feel in some ways Kafka-esque.
Well, it's also like, we'll talk about like analytics. Like what Night Roach is saying could go back to unconscious thoughts or feelings that he does not express in the day. So at night he just does stream of conscious, and that's what comes out. Then he's not being impeded by his mortal mind, his conscious mind, sort of thing.
A Freudian Stockroach.
That's what Freud would say.
Right. And if you guys know anything about psychoanalytic theory that you think would work here, go on about it, because I do not know shit about psychoanalytic theory. I've purposely ignored it.
Well, see,
I don't like it.
See, I've just been in enough psychology classes that I have learned I've learned Freudian logic. But because it's in psychology, they go, oh, look at what Freud says. Ha ha, he's a weird guy, penises. And that's pretty much what we learn in psychology.
Yeah.
That's what we learn in Psychology 101 for
Jesus
Freud.
Christ.
They go, he had thoughts. Some of them were good, but also everything, no.
Yes.
A lot of like the dream stuff came up, and then everyone's like, oh, right, Freud was a crazy person. Okay, good to know.
I've met
and then
I don't know if he was crazy person. I think it's just a lot of pulling stuff out of the
well, it's also like a lot of Freud had a lot of
which is what most academics do anyway.
he had a lot of interesting interpersonal relationships, which you could see in his theories. So like he's like Freud had problems with his mother. I don't know if you can tell by Freud's theories that he had problems with his mother. But anyway, we're way off topic.
Imagine if you wrote something Sigmund Freud had wrote and your mom read your work. Like I feel like I'd be mortified. But I mean, that's exactly my issue with psychoanalytic
Penis
theory.
envy. Yeah.
So often is that Freud was mostly wrong, and like, don't get me wrong, it lives on as a cultural force, and people still work
Yeah.
with it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's value in discussing it in that respect. But I've met a surprising amount of psychoanalytic theory people who I'm not really sure are on that wavelength about it.
Well, there's like neo-Freudian stuff. There's stuff that is like for psychology things, there's things that Freud did that kind of live on, like regulating forces, like the superego is
Right.
everywhere. But it's not called a superego. It's just like, hey, rules and norms and regulations rule our mind in some way. So that kind of lives on in that way. A lot of Freud stuff lives on, not a lot, a certain amount lives on in that regard. But a lot of his core stuff, like penis envy and like Oedipus complex, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, that doesn't exist anymore because it was just very sexist and it came from a time of very sexist where a lot of his clients were women going through hysteria.
Right. Hysteria.
So, hysteria,
Yeah.
aka they just wanted to be regular human beings and society didn't want them to be.
Right. Which
Yep.
Now we are way off the beaten path. Get
which
back,
is somewhat
pulling the
what's
train.
not hysteria, but that is the tension that underlies, Stockroach's external presentation. I like all these things that normal culture won't let me like, and whether that be men or anime, and I have to try and find a way to express that in a way that negotiates my identity in some ways. In some ways, I'm interested to see where we go from here as well, because I know, David, your research comes up on this show often. That specific thing you pointed out about the way that queer individuals engage with, the Japanese culture may be of value here. I'm not quite sure yet myself, but it's that intersection between trying to express yourself, having these interests, and letting those things kind of collide in a way that ends up being a little Orientalist and like an accidental capacity.
Yeah. Transnational consumption of media and how it operates, let's say, on the body, to make it sound very fancy.
Yeah. So all of these things are interesting. I just appreciate, before we go back to getting started with it again, that Stockroach is so invested in every single individual who follows his account.
I love it. He's appreciative for people. First of all, he craves attention in some format, right? Because we can see it through various means that, especially with his dad, he has not received the attention he would like to receive, right? So I think it makes sense that he would, any followers that he would have, he would obviously be invested in, because he doesn't have any real friends or attention from elsewhere coming in.
It definitely seems like that in his diary, saying people ostracize me and like, oh, I have to go down and take medicine, and everyone's being confused about that and stuff. So it's very much like a
Well, and kind of beyond that frame of mind too, it's very anti his persona, which I mean everything is, but he's a 30-year-old stockbroker on YouTube. You could not pick a kind of person who is more likely to not give a shit about the individual people that are engaging with them, and that's so this whole thing ends up feeling like a fantasy in some ways. Obviously that is kind of what it is, but it's specifically undermined by these little decisions to like give a shit, which is in some ways a radical thing on YouTube. Just in general. I mean, there are individuals who care about their audiences, but at some point your audience gets big enough that that's not really possible anymore, and any attempt to do so becomes something a little radical, I think.
Yeah, and basically, part of the persona of an influencer is to like have this weird, like, quote unquote caring relationship with your followers, even though you don't really care, right? It's like the discourse of having like this followers that you appreciate and care about, right, is part of the influencer MLM module, right? Or not module. I'm thinking about Canvas. Right, motto or right, that's part of their persona, is to care, quote unquote, about their audience. And obviously a lot of people don't. And I think we can see that Stockroach actually does in some
Yeah.
ways, or at least is trying to express that in ways that are like beyond just your stereotypical like MLM person, being like, I care about my community that I built,
I'm like, I care about the network of people who spend money on me. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
It's
spend money for me.
well, it's a YouTube rhetoric, right? It's we want to track your engagement, increase your engagement, whatever else. So you need to engage your audience. That tracks immediately. And like I said, I think there are some creators who really do put the effort into trying to care about individual people and their audience. I'm not saying everybody is jumping themselves into this rhetoric, but a active disregard for that rhetoric is itself interesting because it undermines the platform logic that Google is pushing. And he's got
ways,
200 people, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Still.
know if it's like he's I would say that his active engagement of his audience contradicts his money guru sort of idea.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of YouTubers who do take their time out to shout out comments and engage in their communities, make discords and such. So I don't know, and I also don't know if YouTube intends, like, YouTube sells the platform to content. They sell the platform to three different audiences: the viewers, the content creators, and the advertisers. Content creators are kind of sold on the broadcast yourself. It's easy, it's cheap, and you can build a community.
Right.
Whereas viewers are kind of sold on you can follow these people and engage in a community. Like, they're both sold on a community, whereas I think viewers are sold more on the make a community yourself, whereas
Yeah.
the creators are sold in joining a community of creators or of making their own community, sort of thing. It's interesting.
Well,
But yeah, I kind of can see.
maybe
What you're
I'm
talking about.
overvaluing it too, because like it is always kind of a weird thing to say, well, maybe this is a little radical or maybe this isn't, right? Like, that's a very weird line to draw. I just think specifically the individualized approach that Stockroach is happening into isn't what YouTube is built to accomplish. It certainly wants audience engagement, but like, it doesn't want audience engagement from you to an individual other person.
Yeah, it's definitely the platform sells itself on a macro level community, not micro level. Like,
Mass media, basically.
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah,
well, you can make us. It's a social media platform. They're
Right.
like, here, you can have followers and people can follow you and they can comment and you can comment back to them. But they're not expecting like someone with 1 million subscribers to be able to reply to every single comment
of course.
or to moderate effectively. That's why they have auto moderation.
Yeah.
So like they're kind of
Or they
like,
hire people to moderate.
oh, they hire people to moderate. Well, YouTube, you can't really hire people to moderate.
But on something like Twitch or Discord, right?
Yes, definitely. So it's like it's very macro level. It's not, hey, this person subscribed me, so I'm going to yell at them and say, hey, thank you. It's more of like, hey, you've collected 100 subscribers. It's all analytics. It's very macro level. But yeah,
Yeah.
don't yell at your
There's so
subscribers.
much to talk. I like, also now I'm getting moments of convergence culture in this. So, if you guys want to go, if our audience wants a fun book suggestion, Henry Jenkins's Convergence Culture is really good and surprisingly easy to read as an academic text. So, and super prescient in so many ways. There is a chapter about transmediation that focuses on the Matrix, but it also has a ton of background on like other ARGs like Beast and stuff. Jenkins is in some ways like the first big publication that ARG research got, although Jenkins himself is a media scholar. I don't know. I mean, Jenkins is kind of just everything. Henry Jenkins just keeps doing everything. Like, I don't know
Henry Jenkins
what that
is just
man
doing
does.
his thing, But let's continue on with
Yes, let's continue. Book suggestion over. So
book suggestion over.
Moving forward with the ARGs nuts. God, that was a dumb joke.
Stockroach and ARG.
So we're going to go to Untitled 2, and then we'll do the coronavirus symptoms they don't tell you about, and then maybe we'll have something more to say about coronavirus stuff. And then after that, we get to my three of my favorite episodes, I should say. There are other episodes that are just as good.
How many are we doing?
We're going to investing in the ARG economy. So I don't think it'll take us as long as the other ones, because all the other ones were like 8 minutes or 11 minutes long, and these are all like 4 minutes long.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Pause. Immediately.
Yes, right in. So I guess school is closed again, which I guess makes sense. That's actually fine with me, and I didn't even like going there. Also, I feel like I don't even need school socially. Everybody matures at different rates, and for some people, high school is a great place to be for whatever age you are. But for other people, maybe you're better at making friends when you're on the internet and don't have to be in class, lunch, vice versa with somebody. I have a lot of friends now who are much older than me. Anyway, just something I'm thinking about.
It sounds like such a high schooler who doesn't have friends, but he wants to sound really cool. Like, I don't need friends. I'm too old for friends.
But
Well,
it
he is. He's too
links.
old for friends. He has colleagues.
Oh,
you know?
right. Yes, of course. He only has colleagues. My bad. It does link right back into what we were just talking about, though. And what David was talking about earlier. Actually, maybe at the end of this, the thing I'll bite back on is that David should tell us more about how he's taught 20 stockroaches. If David's comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I got a key.
I just know the weebs. I know the
I knew
loners.
the
I know
weebs.
them. I've seen them. I've been friends with them and colleagues with them.
So he's humming. We're getting some gibberish here. Oh, is this a night roach?
This is the night roach.
I have a key. He's hanging out.
Oh, kitty.
Night roach seems to have perfect pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
I love all the things that he's able to accomplish at night. It's just, it's really kind of wonderful. He's kind of a musical genius in so many ways.
This is kind of creepy. A little ooky spooky.
Oops. Ambient and made him hallucinate, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
YouTube Studio. As Trom points out, this melody is important.
Okay.
So listen with your ears. Also, we could be going through all the comments, but I suppose that's probably a bit much.
We got tell us about the angel and then great video. So.
If you sleep, you can see her, is basically what I think that comes out to.
Well, this kind of ties back to like the diary entry where it was like, oh, if I sing, will she's in the Night Roach diary entry, the first one that we were trying to read. It was saying, like, what happens if I would to sing for her? Will she stay if I sing for her? That's kind of what he was doing in that video.
I wonder if he was singing in his dream, and that's in somewhat what's coming through, like this weird mix of the waking conscious mind and the unwaking. Yeah.
And then and also in the comment, he's like, if you sing to her, you'll see her, sort of thing. Like if you go to sleep, you'll see her, and sing for her, something like that. Makes sense in my brain. My brain.
Onward and out and forward to Bing.com.
To Bing.com. Look at that floofy owl.
Buy stocks without money. Buy stocks for free. Free stocks. How do I know where I am? Are angels real? Beautiful angel painting. Trending now. Among Us game.
Oh,
Yay!
speaking of
Today's
historical
show.
moment, oof.
There we go. Cool haircuts for men. Can ARG die, which is the thing from last time. So, cool haircuts for men. It's the important thing.
All right, Money Grubs. Today I want to talk to you about something very serious, which is the coronavirus symptoms. Now, a lot of you are probably familiar with a lot of the things on this list. Fever, everybody knows about the fever. Tiredness, everybody knows about that. Diarrhea, everybody knows everything there is to know about it already.
Oh, I know.
But what I want to actually talk to you about is some of the lesser known symptoms of the coronavirus, the symptoms that they don't tell you about.
It's all
So let's get
conspiracy.
started.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Finding girlfriend advice is on there. Making friend advice as well. Good PowerPoints.
Hottest-
I'd love to see
Okay.
them.
So sorry.
Wait.
Hold on.
990.
So I'm having trouble finding the slideshow that I made, which
What
is actually a
happens?
good thing because it brings me to the first symptom that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes. Let's go back to that. Costume ideas. Funny ideas. Shoes instead of gloves. Stilts. Backward centaur. Sexy ideas. Goku. Ripple shirt. Champ in human form. Forward centaur.
Right outside the door.
And then
Is,
there's...
forward centaur, is that like the horse head with a human body?
I think backward centaur is a horse head with a human body, and forward centaur is a regular centaur. And then there's some new, I think there is some new stuff, which is, no, actually, I think this is all I think all of this is stuff we've already seen. He's making these now so fast that, like, we're not really getting a lot of stuff between the diary entries.
That I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is that sometimes when you have the version of coronavirus that I have, you get up at night to do various tasks, like checking email is one of them, or moving things from the fridge to the hallway, or deleting files.
Moving things from the fridge to the hallway.
And when you do, some people would call this, they'd call this sleepwalking. But I actually call it something else. I call it an opportunity. Because every time you delete a file
mid-level marketing
in your sleep, it's what it is. It's an opportunity to be creative all over again. I actually don't know what this is. I'm going to get rid of it.
He takes everything in stride.
It's an opportunity to be creative all over again, which I'm probably going to do later tonight. I'll draw something or make a slideshow all over again. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't deleted a file in my sleep. The next symptom that I want to talk about is that if you get coronavirus, you may find that your senses are heightened. Sense of smell, sense of taste. Personally, I found that my sense of hearing was what was the most heightened. And you will start to hear things like, for example, voices of some sort of creature or being that echo through the hallways, and they sing maybe one of the most beautiful melodies that you've ever heard in your life. And it's one of those melodies that you feel like you've always known, but if you ever try to remember it and sing it, you can't do it. The sounds just don't come out. It can't be done. And I personally, I don't know if angels, for example, are real, but I do know what I heard, and what I heard was beautiful.
It's very endearing for all of this
So
stuff.
yeah, definitely the opposite symptoms, taste and smell get heightened. Yeah, I definitely think it's not COVID.
No,
No.
no way.
Definitely
No
not
way it's COVID.
But like hearing creatures in the hallway that are singing melodies to you is definitely a positive symptom of schizophrenia, or the hallucination,
Oh.
which is a positive symptom.
Yeah. And but you know, and this
Hallucinations can happen other places, but my brain immediately went to schizophrenia, which is
yeah. My understanding is it's not the only way it can happen, but it is not. That's probably a pretty firm conclusion. Again, like I don't know how helpful it is to like psychologically diagnose characters in TV and shows and whatever, but I mean that's clearly the direction this is leaning towards.
Well, it
Yeah.
seems it like hallucinations can happen with medication, and hallucinations can, if they're reoccurring, are typically classified under a schizophrenic sort of thing. Schizoid.
Psychologist.
Yeah.
I think he has some trauma going through some things, TBH, but otherwise, I don't know. Definitely, there's definitely trauma, medication,
A
hospitals.
culmination. Yeah, mediocre says a culmination of everything.
He's probably
Right.
really
It's
out
if
of
we
his
if we want to
mind.
put if you want to bring in some Foucault into this too.
Please.
Right, like you've been
Yeah,
disciplined
where was
so
it?
much, right, that you
Oh.
then assume the status of the discipline you've received.
Right.
Right. You've been, let's say, like with hospital, right, which is one of the institutions that Foucault talks about in Discipline and Punish.
Oh, we're going.
Right,
Oh,
the sickness that you have is like has like its physical embodiment right within your body, but then the act of then identifying it, quantifying it, and putting it right datification of your illness basically further like grounds you in that illness itself,
Right.
for lack of a better term, right?
It might be worth kind of breaking down the thrust of Foucault for the audience, because I think we have to assume that most people here have not read Discipline and Punish.
We do not have time to break down the Foucault.
Well, not all of it, but
basically
like in
institutions
a few
suck.
sentences.
That's what it is. Institutions are hard. And basically, after like the 1800s, when prisons became very popular, and basically national governments began to actually like have power over its citizens all the time, and surveillance.
Trauma.
Yeah, and surveillance grows late 1800s, early 1900s. Right now, everyone is able to find data and observe and discipline and punish you at all times now, even more so than before. Right.
It is Foucault. Big TLD. Don't look up what Foucault says on age of consent or whatever. Hey, that's sexuality. That's not discipline and punishment.
It's not just, yeah, we're just talking about Discipline and Punish here.
I read this awesome thing. I think I might have mentioned this last time. About somebody was talking about Foucault, how they had met him in a bathhouse, and didn't know it was him. And then afterwards, they like left the bathhouse together, and then he was like, "Oh my God, you're Michel Foucault." So yeah.
I mean, he was. Okay, so this is we'll after the story we should continue onwards. But I was reading Foucault and I was like, I wonder when this guy lived, and I'm like, oh, okay, he lived very recently, and also he was one of the first known victims of the AIDS pandemic.
Yep.
Oh,
So
really?
he was he died very young in the mid to late 80s, not early 90s, but he was one of the most one of the known cases, first known cases of dying of complications of AIDS.
That's interesting.
So, which also
And
puts
awful.
in context his sexuality book that I can't remember the name of. History of Sexuality, I think it's called.
Yep.
So, he has
interestingly, while we're talking about conformity, surveillance, that sort of stuff, there is this recurring element, of course, of Stockroach always doxing himself every moment he fucking gets, which is not quite the same as what Foucault is talking about. But but it is in some ways, something we kind of come back to often. The other thing is that Stockroach's problem in his social life is a lack of conformity, right? I mean, not that that's how he should fix the problem by suddenly choosing to conform. That has some pretty shitty undertones, but it does appear that the things that get in his way is that he does not conform to the expectations of the other guys, the school, these sorts of things, And so it is interesting, I think, in part to bring up the hospital as a space in which, again, is trying to get him to conform in some way, and he is not interested in engaging with that, and all is still making his videos and all these things that clearly the nurses are not super happy about, Yeah.
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 I definitely think, like, the nonconformity aspect of he's trying to find himself by not conforming in a way. Like, he's talking about, like, oh, I like anime and people, and, like, I'm trying to, like things and things. And then he also is trying to stand out from the crowd by being, like, this money guru figure.
Which is weirdly conformist.
Which is weirdly conformist, but also, like, I'm not conforming to, like, my classmates, maybe? Like, he's trying to find himself by being weird.
Yeah.
Which is very high school.
He's at this
Finding
really...
yourself by being weird is a very common thing.
He's at this really weird and like divergence point in terms of his character, where some of his stuff that he doesn't conform on feels very countercultural, and some things he's not conforming on are like the Adult Swim kind of not conforming. It's quote punk but for white dudes, and like there are, and by that I mean of course the anime stuff and the money guru stuff. It's very like hegemonic, but it's also not hegemonic in that he is a kid doing it instead of doing a job or doing his schoolwork or something like that, which just puts him at this weird, like, I think that's why I identify so much through him, is because at the time I was in high school I was negotiating my queer identity, but I was also dealing with bullshit online that was trying to tug me into this like bad rabbit hole of hate content, right? And so it's this weird moment that you can find yourself in the kind of current American context where you're online, you're trying to express yourself, but your interests have been co-opted by these hate groups. And so you're trying to like keep yourself above ground while not engaging with that and kind of failing. In the case of Stockroach, it seems kind of succeeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that. No?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mediocre is, I'm kind of chuckling at mediocre, just coming off of sociology and psychology identity issue research, hyperfixation, and I'm like, yeah.
Ooh.
Honestly, when you do media studies, you just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You really do.
You have to do that for ARGs too. Like just
in ARGs, you do a little bit of everything too.
Have to.
Just a dash of this, just a dash of that.
You never know what puzzle you're gonna get thrown, so the research is always throwing you, in the words of Michael Jackson. Gotta make that dumb joke on stream. Thanks, Thomas. I'm stealing your joke. So to be clear, there's an anthropologist named Michael Jackson, but every time anybody says the word thrown and Michael Jackson, everybody goes, "Oh, you mean Michael Jackson?" So, maybe that's a future episode where, for some reason, we break down "thrown" as a phrase because it's really useful and cool. Anyway, onward we go, and I do weird singing shit.
I'm gonna grab some water quick. I'll be back.
Awesome. So next up we do November 3rd special, and how will the new America affect my 401k, which is 8 minutes of content altogether and 2 of my favorite episodes. Before David gets back, though, I do just want to touch base with our audience. I hope you guys are enjoying this.
We're hanging out.
Yeah.
We're hanging out with them. Institution TV drama, yes. Yeah, totally.
We, I really appreciate everybody coming around, sticking around, all that shit. It's kind of crazy that this has gone so well for us for like the last, through Paranormal Paranoids into this. I really expected nobody to watch it at all.
ARGs, man.
People are into it. Actually, are we still thinking about taking that week off next week? My understanding is you guys couldn't really do stuff on next weekend, so we were talking about keeping, because I'm all busy on Saturday and all that.
I don't have anything going on.
Okay, I'll ask David. Maybe I was busy on Saturday and David's busy on Sunday, so we decided we were going to take a week
I
off.
might be busy. I might be busy on Sunday.
Okay.
Actually, I will be, because this week I canceled D&D because I have a family member in town, and I was like, oh, we should do dinner on Sunday, and they were like, yeah, that works. So I canceled D&D on Sunday, and then they canceled dinner on us, and they're like, let's do dinner next week. And I'm like, okay, well, I have D&D, and I'm not going to cancel D&D next week. So we're going to do that. We're going to visit earlier in the day, hang out, and then I'll do D&D at night. So I'll be busy on Sunday.
Yeah, so
That is the end product of that discussion.
for the live audience, I think we're planning on taking the next week off, and then we'll come back the week after that. We were just discussing dynamics and stuff while you were gone because they didn't want you to miss the best episodes.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll talk about this more later. But in the meantime, I'll be. I know I'm gonna be talking with Amberly, who's my partner and graphic designer in some respects, on building out some stuff for the Ludic Society. Because outside of the other stuff they're doing for Serious Play, they have offered to help me work on the Ludic Society stuff. And I'm hoping that by next week, maybe we'll have some of the branding ready. So when we get back on this stream, it won't be Serious Play specials anymore, which would be amazing. The only thing is, once that happens, I technically owe Catastrophe Crow the end of an ARG dissection, so we might have to slot that into the bracket of shit to do with Jadoozable. Anyway, onward. We are on to November 3rd special.
All right, Stockkadoodledoo, Money Grubs. We finally did it. We made it to November 3rd. I am so excited. I feel great today. I'm sure you feel great today. I'm sure that all of America is in a really, really good mood today, because today, November 3rd, is the exact 10-month anniversary of the first Stockroach video.
My birthday.
Oh, shoot.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that was election day too. I was working all day.
All right,
that day.
so my secretary just let me know that it's actually
His
it's actually
secretary.
tomorrow. That is the official 10-month anniversary of the first video. But I have so much cool stuff planned for you. I was thinking maybe I would just do the video anyway. But you can let me know what you think in the comments, all right? If you want me to do the video or not. And I'll go check the comments right now. So,
oh gosh, here we go.
Why does my Reddit post say removed?
okay.
Just a fun little tidbit. Oh yes, I should go back to that so you can see that, because we're gonna see there's a bunch of like stuff here that we're gonna see. Not sure about Final Kiss. I'm working on a novel with a twist in it where to break the spell and save the princess, the knight has to not kiss her dead/sleeping body. If he does kiss her, and it seals the spell forever. I already wrote the climax, but now I want to write the scene where they fall in love. If they end up actually kissing in the end, does that mess up the twist? I just don't want it to be one of those books where the princess has to kiss the knight. What do you think? Look at Stockroach being progressive.
I think that's a great idea, where it's like you have to oh, who does that? Oh, it's Maleficent's twist. Where it's like it has to be a kiss of true love. So when the prince kissed her, it wasn't true love because he didn't know her very well, and then Maleficent kissed the girl because that was true love.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea. It's fantastic. And I don't know why oh yeah, I don't know why they said this got removed, but I guess that's why he was trying to figure that out.
I think it's because he was spamming it.
Ah, I see. If the princess has already woken up and they fall in love after the fact, that should be fine. Sounds like a twist to the twist. And then you get this other one. It's like buying
It's like
Bitcoin
buying-
for a penny. So, there's
Take
that.
your hex. That way it'll end up for more hex. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi schemes.
Drawing Scorpion astronaut.
Quick drawing Scorpion astronaut.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
Oops.
And then this is a little bit of the book. But that can't be, Stockario screamed. It's the only way, Elder Roachus responded. I would never kiss a girl unless I knew she was in love with me. If she's already dead, how can I know if you really loved her?
What a white knight.
Would you want to do anything but to bring her back? Stockario looked into the eyes of Elder Roachus and saw something that frightened him, a kind of intensity, an almost evil-looking sheen that he had never foreseen in the eyes of his mentor. Do it, Stockario. Do it, my son. And
Oh
with
my
those
god,
what were you saying?
this This is emulating to the T really like young adults writing fan fiction. Like I looked into his eyes and saw something that frightened me.
Oh my god. Trom sent us an easier to read version. Thank you, Trom. I'm gonna read this one. But yeah, well, no, I'm not because Discord won't work on my tablet. Woohoo! Anyway, I can do this. I can do this, Trom.
All right, where are you right now? do it, my son.
Do it, my son. And with those two words, Stockario's leaden heart suddenly became full of wings. So you're really my dad?
Here, I'll do the other one.
Okay. Stockario said in a whisper.
Yes, I love you, son. Now kiss the dead princess on the lips. It's the only way to break the curse.
Deep inside of Stockario's chest, something changed. Something shifted inside of him, unperceptibly, and in a moment of clarity, he thought to himself a secret thought. He walked towards Ashphelia's slumbering corpse. He lowered his face to hers.
It's like, yes, kiss her dead face.
Whispered a thin voice behind him. Maybe his real dad, but maybe not. At the last moment when Stockario's trembling lips were mere inches away from the mouth of Ashphelia. Alright, that one I can't make out. The something's dead corpse. Might be elf?
Ashphelia the tall.
Oh, the tall. Ashphelia the tall's dead corpse. That's absolutely right. He suddenly changed his course to the side and brought his lips closer to her ear. Instead of kissing her dead lips, he whispered into her dead ear, I am sorry, but I can't. Not yet. Not like this.
Why do you not kiss her?
Evil Elder Roachus demanded. Because, yelled Stockario with all the might from his lungs full of air. The real Elder Roach is an honorable man who only casts honorable spells. Good magic would never want me to kiss a girl who's already dead. The only thing that would want me to do that is evil magic. And with one swift motion, Stockario grabbed the princess's broadsword from atop her chest, where her dead hands tenderly held it, and wielded it over his head like a sword. With all his might, he backed Elder Roachus, or should I say, the imposter Elder Roachus, back into a corner and shouted, Who are you, really?
I love the stuttering. I told you. I'm your father, Elder Roachus.
Stammered the man who Stockario thought was probably an imposter. We'll see about that. And then with a lungful of air, he bellowed a powerful, and then that kind of goes off. I'm not really sure if we get to see that, so. The blade struck like a sword through flesh. Literal description. The shadow man emitted an ear-splitting screech and faded into oblivion. What happened? Stammered Stockario, quaking with exhaustion and the heavy weight of Princess Ashphelia's broadsword.
Okay, I will tell you, but I do not have much time.
Said the tired and very old Elder Roachus. He went on to explain that his body had been possessed by a Shadowphilus, who had also put a curse on the princess. The evil magic of the curse would make the princess look like she was dead if the chosen one could be tricked into kissing her dead body's lips, it would make the curse permanent and she would be dead forever. I knew it, said Stockario loudly. I knew that good magic would never want me to kiss a girl without at least talking to her about it.
You were right. It was very evil magic indeed. And now that Shadowphilus has been stabbed in the heart with the princess' own blade, that means that.
He trailed off. You mean, said Stockario, trailing off. Together they turned to look at the princess who was sitting up to stretch as if from a long nap. You're alive!
You're alive!
David, that means you have to be the princess.
Oh gosh. Which line?
Starts with
of course I'm alive, and I was alive the whole time. I heard everything that you said and did. I just couldn't move.
Said the princess from a sitting position.
I have to go now.
Said the Elder Roachus, and flew out the window.
He's gone.
He's gone. Wait, yelled Stockario quickly. Are you my real dad or not? And what's this business about the chosen one?
Sometimes life offers only questions and no answers.
And Elder Roach flew away with a sly smile to tend to his other magical duties.
Woo!
Now that we're alone,
Said Asphaldia confidently.
I just want you to know that when you were talking about kissing me,
Suddenly, the floor split open and Shadowfulness returned, stronger than ever.
You thought you were finished with me?
He shouted with an evil screech. Stockario and Ashelia Mouse hung open in surprised shock. They both... And that's it. Oh my god, I hope he publishes this.
I have to commend Stockroach on actually being grammatically, like, formatting-wise correct. When I write stories just straight, I don't do this. I don't hit enter with every dialogue tree. I just clump it all together, and then when I go back in editing, then I separate it out. Like, it's not how I write stories. Good job, Stockroach, being formatting correctly.
Maybe we should note that he's been looking for Minecraft skins too.
Hey, that's a lot of different Minecraft skins.
It is. I like.
I was gonna say I saw the Umaru one, which is never a good sign. It's not a good sign.
We have Haiku, Emilia.
Yes, mediocre. It is a great lesson on consent, and it's written in it's such a good like fan fiction piece. Honestly, I would read this book, and if this came out, I would do a dramatic reading on stream of this entire thing. Cause it's
Oh yeah,
real good.
I do. What we should do it like as a special. Do a dramatic reading of some book that's actually like it's a fine book, has wholesome story content, but it's just written really poorly.
I would do on Fan Game Follies dramatic readings of fan fiction, but that's besides the point. Let's continue.
We'll see. We'll see if I decide to do that.
But anyway.
Strong anime girl underwear, strongest women in the world, beautiful muscular women.
Okay.
He has a type.
So let's just go to YouTube.
Yes, so here's a really important thing. Do you see here DeviantArt the large? Apparently this is like Ashley's DeviantArt or something, according to Trom, but we can't find it yet. So anybody who's watching the stream or watching the VOD and is like, oh, I want to contribute to this, if you can help us find Ashley's DeviantArt, that'd be awesome.
YouTube. Check out the videos for the comments. Okay, so it looks like the video I'm doing right now is not up yet, so I guess I can't see the comments that you're leaving. I guess that's a glitch of some kind. So I'm just gonna assume that you do want to see the whole video because it's really, really cool. And I'm gonna do that, Stockkadoodledoo. So what I have for you to commemorate the exact 10-month anniversary is a brand new, totally remastered version of the theme song from Stockroach. I'm so excited to share this with you. Here we go.
Banger. Oh no.
Okay. Sorry about that. Get this out of the way. So, something weird is happening. But I can still do the song. I will do it. I'll do the acoustic version. I'll do the live acoustic.
My favorite arc,
version of
the Too Much Ram arc. Yes.
So good. The
So I have to
Too
go
Much
with my
Ram.
piano now. I'll try to sing kind of loud, but you can let me know if it's hard to hear. You can let me know in the comments.
This is why he needed a piano tuner.
Louder, or if you need me to get closer to the microphone, I can do that. You just let me know.
Hello?
Oh, this is my favorite episode. Never stops being really funny.
Sorry, I just had to open and close the door.
I'm losing my shit.
All right, so that's it, everybody. Happy 10-month anniversary, and Stockadoodle-doo.
It's so good. It's like one of my favorite episodes. And then the great follow-up,
Ready to start eating healthier?
which is not this ad.
Yes.
Meet Kachava.
It's
Kachava
Kachava.
is the word.
The two
This is the Stockroach, and I'm coming at you to say congratulations to. Hold on. I want to say congratulations to America's brand new president, Bill Clinton, who. Sorry,
Sorry, I have to. Oops. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Look, I'm Stockroach now.
Hold on.
There we go. Now we're about.
Bill
Well,
Clinton, who. Not Bill Clinton. To.
The other white dude
Hold
which
on.
one?
who went to an Ivy League. He went to an Ivy League college. I know that for sure.
All right, here we go. Dear Diary, now that I'm home from school every day, it's harder to hide my medicine from my mom. I had to actually take it last week, which I guess is why I haven't done drawings or anything. Yesterday, I figured out how to hide the pills in the gap between my molars, top right. And then be able to spit them out after lunch. When I woke up this morning, there was already a new drawing on my computer.
Oh, here's the chicken.
So I guess there was also a whole chicken in my bed, which I guess moved out of the fridge, but I put it back before Mom got up. Oh no, Stockroach, don't put it back.
I'm sure it's fine. So he's hiding medicine that he's not taking.
Oh, and he's putting whole chickens in his bed. Thank you for telling me about that trauma. I totally forgot about the whole chicken in his bed.
Also, look at all of these Sibelius files.
I know. It's so good. Another late night Stockroach, please listen to me. Funny ideas for the costume, and we're back to that stuff. So there you go.
Imagine a whole chicken. Well, is it like a chicken or just I can't just
Like a whole chicken. Now the question is, was it wrapped up still, or was it just a fucking
rotisserie
whole chicken?
chicken is the best cuddle.
It's really funny. I want that as a piece of fan art. God
Oh
damn.
my god. Yes.
So here we are. In the private folder on his left, we also see Ashley's Facebook and Ashley's All Poetry, which Trombone pointed out is relevant, but we don't have it. So again, if you're watching the stream or you're watching the VOD and you want to help us like finish this ARG, we have to find these things and we have no idea how to find them. But we assume it has to do with the large here, you know?
The large.
Ashley the Large.
Ah, yes. Some searches you might expect. Hide pills from mom.
Best way. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Okay, to Joden, to Bill Joden, to President Bill Joden, I want to say congratulations. I think he has done a great job so far in his first week as president. But
Bill Joden.
a lot of people are worried because
This is
there's
how
a new
you
president,
know
there's a new
he's
America.
also a kid because he
People
doesn't
asking
quite
questions
understand
like,
that he's not president until January.
Like my 401k. What's a lot of questions about the 401k, which direction it's going. And I have a lot of thoughts about the 401k. So to visualize those thoughts,
About the
I think the best way to do it
401k
is to draw a graph. And
What did you love about Bill
that's
Joden?
what we're going to do today. Um,
I love this image.
Pause
sorry, we
it.
don't need
You
this.
need to like take this in.
Octopus. Okay.
It's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good. Is this the front of the octopus, or is this the front of the octopus?
Front of the
Who can
octopus.
know? Oh, it's
Large
so
back of
good.
head, big brain.
Large nose.
Large nose.
It's amazing.
You
Man.
do have they have a beak.
They have a
Yes.
beak, but it's inside all their tentacles.
Yes. Yeah.
Might blow Stockroach's mind with that one.
Here. This is for something
Oh,
different.
God.
You don't need to read or look at that picture. So the first thing when you draw a graph is you always draw some axes.
This will really piss Morgan off.
So I'll do an axis,
Axes. Yeah.
for the 401k. And then I'll
4.
do a lower axis for the president. And the color you start with on a 401k graph is, it's not green. It's, shoot, hold on. Okay, so it's blue.
Making the graph. It's beautiful.
The first color is blue, and it looks like the blue goes all the way across, from left to right. So I will do just a couple blue lines. You probably know that this graph
What
is
is-
called a line graph because of what it's drawn with.
Oh, is he making? Wait, no.
And then
I'm so confused.
next we have the orange lines, which
Oh, actually,
look
I
like
should
they go
pause there
from
because I think he has another
which
tab open.
look like they go from higher to lower. So
maybe it's just the USA President winner, actually.
some
That's all it is.
orange lines.
I still need to know that, so it might be good to
You want to go back just in case?
just in case I don't remember who the USA
And
president
that-
is.
Oh, yeah, of course, right. It's an easy
is
thing to
not
forget.
orange.
It's
But
Bill
it's
Joden.
Bill Joden.
Didn't you know? Bill Joden.
Sorry about
Oh,
that.
Jill
Orange
Biden.
lines.
Jill
go
Biden, first
probably
first
this way.
lady.
It's Dr. Jill Biden.
Excuse me.
So this is just to get us started
There's
regarding
so
a
much salt when
401k.
she was like, "Oh my, I'm."
But
a
as you
doctor."
can
They're
see,
like, "You're not a medical
the lines, when they come together, they start to tell a story, if you know how to read them, which is there's a shape that becomes
Sunset.
revealed in the graph, which I will highlight. It's a
That's it.
it's a nice shape. It's a curved shape that it's revealing. And when I look at this
a
shape,
cat ball at me.
what I think is, I think it's a good time to be in America. I think it's a good morning. I think 401ks are going to rise. They're about to rise, and that's a good reason to feel really good about yourself and your family and your loved ones.
Oh, man.
Whatever you're going through, if it's whatever you're going through, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Stockadootle-doo.
Gonna be okay.
So
Yep. So, yeah.
So I have my pedantic gripe is if he's still doing this on trackpad, no way he can make that on trackpad.
That's where we're going with this. The intelligent
But also-
commentary everybody tunes in for is us talking about what's possible on a track.
It's a Mac trackpad too, so they're like multi-touch. But anyway, that reminds me. Did you guys ever like in math when it was a funny holiday or something like Valentine's Day? Your math teacher would put up this really complex thing to put into your graphing calculator, and you'd put it in your graphing calculator, and it'd like make a heart
Mm-hmm.
or like a pretty picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what that reminds
me. He's so innocent, you know? Like, it's just...
He's trying his best.
He's trying
really
his best.
trying.
Wait, which way is the front of a track?
Of a track? Oh, no. That's a good question. Thank you, Magic Hand. But no, I mean, like I love that. that he is so unaware of everything about his fucking computer, you know? Like, we talked about it. This is all beats we've talked about before. It's not just internet culture, though. He doesn't understand, like, he's like fucking genius at putting together music, and then does not understand how his program works at all.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that kind of makes me chuckle. So Sibelius is like known for being really convoluted and silly to use and utilize, and so like he's doing this in his sleep pretty much. Like Night Roach is just composing in Sibelius in his sleep, and like
I mean, yeah, literally, right? So like, again, like, what is he? Like, he's an enigma, and that's
what is he?
What is he? But like, to go to this piece that I read that Stuart handed to me, like, the point, one of the things that this author in his critique of JR points out is that JR is about the underlying fantasy that exists in the concept of stockbroking, you know, like, that it's a bullshit institution, it's a game, it's playful, it's not, even if it does have real impacts, that the book is underscoring that. And I feel like in some ways Stockroach is doing the opposite to this. You know, it's not saying, oh, these things are real, it's saying, oh, but the people who are engaging with these things are intensely real, you know, which goes,
it's like
sorry, no, go ahead. You probably have something more.
I was just gonna say,
anyway.
I was just gonna say like that. The people engaging in it believe in it so much that it manifests, right? Like it like money is an inherently made up human qualified system, right? And like the stock market itself is even above that, right? It's like it's taking somewhat kind of real things happening in the world, right? And then you have like money put on top of it, and then you have another layer of the stock market, which is like speculation of the money of the real thing, right? So I think part of what this is kind of doing is like pointing out that a lot of stockbrokers, a lot of people invested in this system don't really understand all of the complex layers of what's happening. They just see the stock market and are like, oh, this is what I need to follow. And not seeing how it's all like inherently constructed upon a human construction upon something that's real.
Yeah, and it's inherently designed to be ridiculous. Like, do you know what a Roth IRA is? Like, do any of us really know what a Roth IRA is? I'm sure it's
my mom might, because she worked in HR, but I don't know.
No.
Fair enough. I don't really understand 401ks, to be honest. Like, even like my understanding is about as rudimentary as Stockroach is in that regard. But the interesting thing about it is that he's evaluating his value as a person in this game while making a game unwittingly, but you know, like, that is it's bizarre. It is folding, like, it's a folding idea, I think is the way I would put it. It folds over on top of itself in this really weird way that demonstrates the concept. But like, and you know, all of this, it's like, I think that's what makes this such a hard piece to critique in some ways. Is on some level, it's very quick and easy to be like, okay, you know, like we did last time. We talked about the stock market crash, right? We talked about contemporary culture on the internet gurus. We've talked about the coronavirus, all that stuff. But the thing that's difficult to diagnose is this constant positioning of the Stockroach's identity within these modern news-laden frameworks, you know? Like, I don't know, and that's why I think I'm struggling more this time personally to make these connections. His identity is becoming more and more prevalent in the series, and I'm having a harder time figuring out how to negotiate the way he pins it to these like very adult concepts. I don't know if you guys have any insight on that regard.
It kind of seems like he's reaching, well, because he's pretending to be a 34-year-old stockbroker man, but like. And so he's attempting to, like, when he says the 401k, like we talked about it last time, where he has no concept of what money is or like what the economy is. So he's
just as most teenagers and adults don't.
Just as most teenagers and adults don't, but he's definitely trying to make it seem like he does know something. So it just comes off as like a book report that you had to make in 5 minutes. before the class that you're just winging. Um, so, but it really reflects like his m- mental state. You can see throughout, like as he's doxing himself, and you're like, okay, well, he's clearly trying to do something with his life and find an identity, whether that's like through money, gurus, and things, and um, but he's doing it very poorly because he picked something he doesn't know about. Like maybe he could just review anime if he wanted a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He could just review anime, stick with what he knows. But he wants to make himself an adult. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm an adult now. I'm gonna be, yeah,
And
I'm an
maybe
adult.
that's
I can
it.
talk about the 401k.
It's not that he's pinning his like thoughts on the contemporary culture. Like that's not what's driving him. What's driving him is I want to be an adult who's past all this shit. You know? So this is what adults do.
Yeah,
it's like the it's inherently about the teen process of trying to figure out the right, like the institutions that structure our world, but going through them through like your own individual identity,
Yeah.
which I think is a very teenager thing to do, right? Because
Mhm.
you're finally starting again bringing in just like the stuff from education, right? Like developmental psychology, right? Like teenage life is around the time that people can finally start envisioning and understanding things outside of themselves, basically, but they still are understanding those things through the lens of their own personal identity and personal, right? Like you're now thinking not necessarily like who am I, but you're thinking who am I and how do I fit into this,
yeah,
Yeah.
right? So like he's exploring these institutions like sexuality, money, right, etc. But like the only way he can think of, and the only way teenagers really can developmentally do it, is by thinking through their own identity and how they relate to it.
Right.
yeah.
But it makes it's funny because I think like maybe because we're older now, it's hard to like it's hard to critique that. You know, it's hard to like, it feels almost beyond reproach.
Yeah, it is, because that's what just teenagers are.
Yeah.
Right?
And so, like, I don't know. I always recourse back to this weird Victorian thing where I'm like, well, it's sincere or romantic, right? It's one of these. It's constructed and romantic, or it's sincere and real. And like, I think this is kind of like a bent in poetry right now, but also just in the sense of like trying to negotiate things on the internet. We're so, in some ways, so constantly obsessed with what is sincere in a digital age, you know? But like the irony,
there is no such thing,
right? And the irony is this is an ARG. It's entirely constructed. It's like deliberately entirely constructed. So, you know, there's this, which maybe just gets us to Bordeaux more than anything. But like, I mean, because it's not just that's constructed. It's the idea of adult that he's making, which is just a persona he's constructed.
Yeah, I just posted this in the comments, but like, right, the idea of like, well, sincerity is never real, right? Authenticity is never real. Like there is no way that you can like put in your brain what's happening in your brain into another person's brain. That just doesn't happen.
No.
Maybe technologically in the future it will happen, and we'll be like the Navi hooking up to the big tree. Who knows? But
Thanks, James Cameron.
But right, like there is no such thing as like real sincerity or authenticity, which is also I think what this ARG is partly engaging with as well, right? But then also the opposite isn't true, and I think this is what academics might lean into maybe a little too much, right? Is that the exact opposite is also true, that there is no such way of like, even though you can't get around, like you can't get complete sincerity or authenticity at the same time, you can never develop something, even if it's like a joke or an irony, that isn't grounded also in like the similar human experience, right? Like there's no way that you can do something completely ironic that has no emotional input into it ever, because like the vast majority of humans, beyond people who just like whose bodies cannot produce emotions as other humans do, right? There's always some kind of emotionally laden thrust to every single thing that we do, because it's just naturally part of human experience to have those. So it's this weird thing where like you can never really escape emotion, but you can never fully communicate it either.
Right, and you're in this position. Well, I mean, this is being visualized in Stockroach by him trying to construct an identity about these stocks, and then constantly accidentally doxing himself. Like it is I mean, that's exactly what you're trying to say. He's trying to construct a performance. The performance remains undermined by his sincerity in doxing himself. the backstage is being shown to you all the time by accident. Somebody's accidentally left the curtain open on stage, and you can see the gears turning when they. I don't know if you know this about early modern theater. They used to roll cannonballs down little tubes to make thunder noises.
Oh yeah, sure.
Makes
Oh,
sense.
I know all about sound effects.
It's awesome.
I was in the pit for 2 musicals, so I know all about that.
Hell yeah. Then yeah, I mean, you also have this shit going on, but I mean, at the same time, you have him trying to be sincere with Ashley and doing it through fucking anime. You know, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I hope by the end of this, we can grapple with this in a way that feels concrete, but it's really hard, I think, to really diagnose this piece because it's in this formative moment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which just makes it all the more special. I mean, it comes back to the 8th grade thing, right? Like, it's a different kind of formative moment for this character.
Mm-hmm.
Any other points that we wanted to bring up before I move us to the next piece?
I don't think so. I think we continue.
Tambala has joined us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. All right. So, and what a great moment to join us on, really. So, we are going to move over and do another one of my favorites, 50 inspiring quotes for novice investors.
All right, we're going to get some quotes. These are going to be great.
These are amazing.
Oh. Can we pause?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. So this is Reverie by Claude Debussy.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole dream motif and the crazy things going on obviously fits in with the theme of the ARG well. Because Reverie and how Debussy made it basically was about like it was basically like, oh, I had a dream once and this is kind of like the song I'm gonna sound. It's basically kind of like a soundtrack to a dream almost. Anyway, sorry.
Interesting. I did not know any. I'm not a music person, so this is good information to know.
Is he the same person to Claire de Lune? I think so. Maybe.
These are incredible quotes, by the way, with just a random ass picture.
There's Rob Williams.
Who famously said it's never too late.
Friendship is more important than money. Money is still more important than family. Is that something that
No one can take
pause
the
it for
money.
a second?
Yeah, sure.
The last quote, like, money is more important than family. Is that a dig at his dad? If we're going with the idea that his dad was a stockbroker and got like put in jail for embezzlement or something.
Oh my god. Well, his dad's dead. Like, I think that much I think is clear at this point. But maybe he also got put in jail. Who the fuck knows? But yeah. This whole thing is just like, here's Miyazaki. Every time you spend $1, you've actually made $1 because the thing you bought is worth exactly $1 and can be sold anytime in exchange for that original $1.
Yeah, that's something
Famous
from him,
quote.
isn't it? Famous quote from this band.
from
I don't recognize.
Miyazaki. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Famous Studio Ghibli quote.
And there's the EU.
I think it's Angela Merkel
Well,
specifically.
it's Angela
who's
Merkel.
referencing.
There's Donald Trump, and why count the dollars when you already have? When you can count the dollars you haven't made yet. Thanks, Walt Disney.
Shell of Hava.
A good sailor is always thinking about the horizon. Oh, yeah, totally so. Well, they have the other half's making a lot of money. Over a beautiful city.
Oh, him turning the page. Yep.
Hello? Hey, no, I was just, I was working on some writing.
On the set of Baby Mama.
And I was playing guitar, too.
Frog.
Yeah,
This
for
frog
a long
said
time, actually. I've always got time to talk.
Every crease in a dollar bill.
There's talking in the background, isn't
Yes.
there? Am I crazy?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
Goku.
it's actually not due until Tuesday, so yeah, you're totally good. Totally. Yeah, no, she's my favorite teacher too, actually. Yeah, I love yeah, you know. Okay. Oh. Okay.
I can't take this, man.
Oh, hey, I actually hey, I wanted to say Suye
How will you make your first dollar?
Suye Taikai de Gambatte kudasai. Suye? Suye? Yeah, Suye. Suye Taikai de Gambatte kudasai. Yeah, okay. Bye.
Cincinnati Bengals of all things.
To quickly recap, in case you couldn't hear that, Ashley called him to ask about the homework, and then he responded to her request, and then told her something in Japanese that I have no idea what it means. Yes, to do Stockroach video. Each push-ups, 3 push-ups, sit-ups, rest. To do mirror drawing. The Japanese word for loneliness is, and so on.
L.
Ashley facts.
Short hair.
Ashley back.
Beautiful. Favorite brand snakeskin. Also likes screaming females. Saint Vincent, King Princess.
Oh my gosh, I can tell who Ashley is now too.
Does she wear a Hot Topic t-shirt?
I will never not confirm nor deny whether or not she wears Hot Topic t-shirts. But I will tell you that I know the answer to that question. Oh. Oh, he's great.
How many zeros are on a $1 million bill?
In case you missed the entire presentation. As Mediocre puts it, she wears flannels and listens to Girl in Red. David knows what that means. These quotes are just amazing. A wise man once asked, "How will you make your first dollar?" Long ago, the main kind of money was gold. Now the main kind of money is digital. Such is the way of the world. Oh my god. All right.
Ugh.
Edit middle of video.
Oh, 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 oh.
Keeps dragging the playhead back. Oh, he's so good. Poetry is the oldest form of wealth, my friends.
But, yeah, you know what? Sure.
Shakespeare was a great writer, but was he a wealthy man? Yes, he was. It's Ellen DeGeneres, man.
It's just, oh, there's Dragon Ball Z.
There's the
Okay,
Gummy
wait.
Force.
A wise father once gave the gift of $1. How many think? Wise man once gave the gift of $1 to each of his beloved sons. How many of his sons do you think survived to adulthood? 3 of
Three.
them did. What? That's like one of those really bad math problems.
Yeah.
Where's dollar bill drifting on the sea? Only the wind now.
A folded dollar bill. A dollar bill that can be folded to look like a shirt can be unfolded to look like a dollar bill. I just can't. I get tired from this ARG from laughing too much.
How many zeros? The answer may
Answer
shock you.
you.
It's 6. No,
Yeah,
9?
6.
Yeah, it's
It's
6.
6. Yes, it's 6.
Capital wisely.
I wonder if that's supposed to be champ, actually.
It could be.
I believe it. It's so bad, man. He just wants to finish his piece, but he's made the PowerPoint too short. Oh, I can't. Here's all those fucking files again. I think there are more of them now, actually.
Yeah. There's also copies now, so there's like 6 copy, 7 copy.
So now there's only really 1 or 2 more to go today that we're going to do. I can't decide. We might do investing in the ARG economy. But I think now is a good time to break, because this video, as hilarious as it is doing something I think very different than the rest of the videos. Not that it isn't feeding into the same aesthetics, it's just decided to feed into office culture. Have you been in an office and actually seen one of those fucking posters?
Like the inspirational poster.
Not really.
Yeah.
I've never worked. I guess I worked in a factory once for like a month. They didn't have any of that stuff though. I've never worked in an office, thank goodness.
In my dad's business office, they had those posters. I'm not kidding. Black text, weird ass stock photo, something like, you know, the word inspiring and then a quote. I didn't think they were real, but they really did print them. I just wonder, like, I think they've fallen out of fashion. I've never,
Yes.
like, since then those posters have been taken down, but like in the early 2000s and late 90s, I feel like those posters really did exist. And the aesthetic is just kind of carried on, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more infamous now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of translated into like lolcats, and it became a huge meme. Like a lot of so it makes sense that they moved away from it. But yeah, like still, well, like doctor's office still have. You look at like hospitals, like going to the ER as a kid, like you definitely saw the "you'll get better" in like kids wards and stuff, like the same sort of inspirational posters. Just
Which
in a different
mediocre.
context.
You guys are on the same wavelength right now. You both pointed the same thing out.
I think I actually read what mediocre said, and then I forgot that mediocre had said it, and then I said it myself, and I went, "Oh yes, mediocre also just said that." Wait, let me mediocre Botley 2021. There we go. I said it.
We make a PowerPoint full of those quotes. That'd be great. No, it's interesting to me that it's a persistent aesthetic in our culture, because like it's a visual language that I assume young people are not really going to have that much context for, but it's something that lives on in so many ways on the internet. And so now you have somebody like Stockroach, who's probably never actually seen one of those posters, you know, copying them as kind of bureaucratic culture.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's like clip art.
Which is the right. So now you have mid-level marketing, which is like office culture but online, right? And maybe like not in a physical office building, but it's basically the same thing.
Timbalaya says, I had a really weird phase in 8th grade where I was collecting hang in their cat posters, which honestly, that's kind of cool, actually. I feel like if I was a cooler 8th grader, I would have done the same thing. I never really got into collecting things. But yeah, I mean, it's office, you're right. It's office culture, which goes into MLM culture, which has kind of also become digitized. Ironically, the person who knows the most about MLM culture here is not me. It is you two. I don't know crap about MLM culture, except I almost got contacted about a Cutco scheme once. That was fun.
MLM culture is very odd because of the way that it both disavows and emulates culture. Because so MLMs, well, as well as like the posters that we're talking about, the inspirational posters, kind of just are toxic positivity. And then MLM culture is just toxic positivity. Like everything is
Yes.
fine. Don't look at the other side of the fence. You're good. Just put a smile on your face. It's an attitude thing. Like you're not depressed. You just gotta change your attitude. And that's what a lot of MLMs are. So yeah, so when like those posters and like office mentalities, they're like, oh, you don't want to do a 9 to 5. You want to do the exact same thing except at home
Right.
without benefits. That's
No
kind of what
no
MLM.
work-life separation at all. Just wake up every day and
Yeah.
get to work. Yeah. I love that Trump Boomer has pointed out that that is the normal way, so that's a Stockroach. So, God
That's
damn it.
it is the normal way, I will say. And that's another, it points to another thing of Stockroach, the Stockroach do man. My brain just died. Emulating what adults are.
Yeah.
Adults do office culture. Adults go do 9 to 5s. That's what I want to do is office normal conventional thing. Yes.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Huh. You see, the thing is now my brain immediately went, you should pull out Turner for that, and I don't know why. Like, I haven't a damn clue why I thought that Turner would be the person to read for office culture. But that's where my brain went, so maybe, I don't know. Free association, woohoo. Yeah, no, it is like, in a sense, he is bringing this as what makes it so interesting to me, though, is that while it's on an aesthetic that's on the internet, it is maybe I'm giving it too much credit. Maybe it's not that it's he's pulling this out of bureaucracy. It's that he's pulling this out of PowerPoint.
Well, you could say PowerPoint might be bureaucracy.
PowerPoint is bureau. I mean, PowerPoint is designed for that exact purpose. So it would make sense that he's just using default tools that happen to look like these posters because that's what PowerPoint thinks business people want to look at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's what Office. That's what Microsoft wants. Microsoft wins. This is what we want PowerPoint to look like because this is our office culture. PowerPoint is very well, like Microsoft and like Google. Like you can see company culture in their products because that is a lot. Well, like Google in particular, a lot of the people from my engineering college who went and worked for Google, you could tell that they were going to work, that they wanted to go work at Google because of Google. Not because it was going to make them a lot of money. It was because they liked Android and they liked all the software products, so they were going to go to Google to make Google products. Same with the people who went to Apple. So like, you get that company, the people, it's a cycle. They make a product, the people who like the product want to go work for the Apple, and then they just kind of continue making the products that look like Apple products. So
yeah, and the lovely Scholars Play individual Tambalaya in our chat has pointed out that they also think that bureaucracy is in PowerPoint. So I'm right. Ha! We're multi-institutionally correct. So we must be right.
Also, bureaucracy is very hard for me to type.
It is a really big word. That means very little. Which is kind of a metaphor when you think of. Now, not all bureaucracy is inherently bad. I don't think it is interesting. I wonder if there are. This is a little off topic. People who go into Google and want to get into Google because of their campus and the press about their campus now, as opposed to like as a work culture, as opposed to going into it for the brand or going into it for like actually wanting to develop search engine algorithm shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing like with people who want to like work at Ford, people at my engineering college who were like, oh, I'm going to go work in the auto industry. Like some of them liked cars, but a lot of times it was like, no, Ford and GM pay a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
And that's why they wanted to land those internships and those jobs with those guys. But anyway,
Yeah. So bureaucracy aesthetics, part of your
Bureaucracy.
Stockroach. Let's.
Aesthetic.
Absolutely.
Anything else we want to bring into this, or do we want to go right into the last couple episodes for the day?
Let's go
Yeah.
right into that.
Let's go right in.
All right.
We got 17
I'm
minutes.
losing the steam, so.
That is fair. I
You
feel
should
like
probably
I'm
reinstall Steam if you're losing it.
kind of important for a game scholar to have.
Yes.
So
Oh,
you know, some
You're a
quick
game
things.
scholar and you just refuse to install Steam. You only have Epic Store and Origins.
Yeah.
For some
And itchy.
reason, he has on his Twitter, by the way, in some notable posts, is that he had to look up human swimming for some reason.
Is movement through water using one's
Well, because
limbs?
she's a swimmer. Ashley's a swimmer.
Oh.
Oh yeah, of course. What am I thinking? I promised I'd do a video today. It's still coming out, but had some technical difficulties. Does anyone know a quick way to delete RAM? Sorry, I mean delete hard drives. Sorry, I mean increase hard drives. I need to move 10 gigabyte from my computer to the nearest cloud before I can upload anything. Send advice to #StockAdoodleDo. This just goes on. Otherwise known as Trom puts it, the too much RAM arc.
The too much RAM arc.
Yes. Oh God. So there's some other stuff here. There's the Manticore. Hey everyone, I have been away and I haven't felt like myself for the past week, but I'm back. I'm ready to invest and draw together. Congratulations. Best wishes to the people of America who have elected President Joe Biden. You know. And then there's a tiger for Money Grub of the Month, which is a thing that he used to do.
Look at that tiger.
He's a good tiger.
Look at how white the face of that tiger is.
Tiger.
I have been looking at pictures all day and I can't figure out which side of an octopus is the front. This reappears. Let me know if you have any leads. So this is some more 401k shit. This incredible picture. Great drawing. The defenestration of smog was one of my favorites too.
Oh my gosh, the
just-
defenestration of smog. Oh my god.
It's just the Twitter's all bangers, let me say. None of these are super important to the story, but they are all worth perusing.
Wait,
Here's the image he was
down.
thinking about drawing, by the way.
Oh.
If I
life
dressed
walk.
like her, would you finally see me?
Wow.
Yeah. Does anyone know a good slideshow app? Also a fun tweet.
My clothes fit me all loosely, toes poke through my shoes.
Wash my hands for hours. I tried to be clean for you. Very sweet, very cute and funny.
Little OCD there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, what do you think would be best in settling a new ARG? This is what we really need to get to. You vote fantasy, castles, digital, evil magic, YouTube. Who knows?
YouTube. Who
YouTube.
knows?
Also, at this point, this is pretty much the same shit you would imagine. I don't think there's anything worth pointing out except this lovely individual here wearing a Guy Fawkes mask who is reviewing ARGs on the internet in an insanely low budget way, covered Stockroach, and I think is the only coverage of Stockroach other than us right now. So that's fun. And cool. And good for that kid. Yeah, here it is. Unknown mysteries of the internet. So that's fun. Again, not really much new stuff. Ironically, the Facebook kind of dies after this point too, so there's not really much to say about Facebook anymore.
That's
which
kind
is
of what happens with most YouTuber Facebooks. They're just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna continue this on Twitter.
And then as we go back through the DeviantArt again, you will see all of these pictures we've already seen. Here is the full image of the thing on his desktop last time.
It's a feeling pretty real. I think it's safe to assume that this is what you meant by
Being
Alone?
alone
Alone in a crowded room.
being alone in a crowded room. I understand.
He's very
My
alone
ability to
man.
read cursive has died.
And that's
I stared at
basically
it really hard.
all the peripheral materials. There's my movie, 2.mp4, and then we will do investing in the ARG economy, and we will pick up next time with Stockroaches.
We're gonna
which
go
you may
down there
find
and look around for clues.
helpful.
You wanna come?
Do I
Look
want to
at
break
Steve
into
Martin.
a dead guy's apartment?
All right, Hulu.
Yep. I apologize. There are no closed captions for this one, if there is any talking whatsoever. Look,
So this is
mediocre
the Night
retweeting
Road.
stuff. Yes,
Oh,
this is the
Night Road
Road.
again?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can't wait until we get to the snakeskin stuff. That's going to be so much fun. Oh, yeah, it's important to point out, actually, the image of the hoodie and the mirror stuff, Trombone gave him a bunch of drawing tutorials for that, and he used the drawing tutorials.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know why our
Circle
alert
Hunter's
system is
gifting it.
broken. Oh,
Thank
we got
you.
a sub. Thanks, Circle. Very
He
sweet.
gifted
Thank
a
you,
sub
Circle
to
Hunter.
Supreme TV. Yo, thank you. Yo.
Yo. Thank you, Margaret Thatcher. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fantastic.
This guy is going very low in the treble clef, or it's supposed to be bass clef. I'm not entirely sure.
He's doing a thing. I wonder how our musician friends in chat will feel about Stockroach's music moving forward. He's
Not that hard to-
really surprisingly
It's-
good.
The bars, I don't know if they add up, but
Well, there's no time signature, so we don't know. Oh, he's just adding a note.
Maybe he's writing math rock. So it's actually in like 15, 16. It's a Brian David Gilbert joke. I can't take credit for that.
Oh, he's doing two hands. I got you. Maybe he's not. I don't know. If there's no time signature, then it's 4/4. Fair enough. Fair enough, T Kitty. So 1, 2, 3.
I think it's in 3/4, but I can't tell if he's like doing some bass notes and then eighth notes on top of it, or how he's doing it.
I almost said tromboner again. Now I've said
It's in
tromboner
6/8.
again. It's in 6/8.
Just keep saying tromboner. It's funny.
6/8. Gotcha.
No, I need to be self-aware about it.
He has low battery.
There's a lot of precedent for not caring about that. All right. I know Tambalaya is probably a better expert on music than anybody who's currently in this voice call, to be honest. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah.
I've played a lot, haven't made a lot.
That's definitely a good note right there that he just drew.
I mean, I think he's doing an excellent job of writing music for being asleep.
This is true. Oh, he's putting a time signature in for us, or a note.
Oh, was that the dog?
Yep, that's a dog.
Champ woke him up. Very cute.
Champ's like, you're here. Hello.
Yep.
Also, yes, Tambla and Trombooner definitely know more than us because they're both music teachers.
Oh, wow.
All right, Bunny Grubs, what's
Sweet.
up? This is
So now we go to the final episode for today that we will talk about investing in the ARG economy and the beginning of Stockroaches.
all right, Bunny Grubs, what's up? This is the Stockroach, Stockadoodledoo. As you know, I'm always looking for new ways to help you grow not just your wealth, but also your assets and ways for you to profit in your
He's
cash flow.
translated everything. Oh
Whether
my
that be
God.
through could be through accrual-based accounting, or could even be through cash basis accounting could help you. But in YouTube terms, what we call that is monetize. How can you monetize? That's the big question. And what I've recently learned is a great new way to monetize. One of the best ways you can do it is through something called ARG.
This hurts
so
me
what
so much.
is ARG? ARG
Don't you
is
study
I want you to know
art?
that.
many different things. It can mean this, it could mean that, but mostly when people say ARG,
I want to read all these out. Anti-replicator gun, ancestral recombination graph, amateur radio group, angle recession glaucoma, anime resource group, applied research grant, which is actually probably a real acronym, amphibious readiness group, aquifer remediation goal. Yeah, annual real growth.
What they're
It's
talking
kind of like
about
a series
is
of
a
unfortunate
form
events
of
with BFW.
Yeah.
YouTube channel where there is both a game to play and a sort of there's a thing where there's like a mysterious aspect to a we're gonna look at the definition real quick.
Cat.
Let me pull
What
that
is
up
that
for
cat?
you.
I should go back
guys-
on that. Yeah, this.
I am terrified.
It's got 650 polygons. Not that you could tell.
So what we got?
Oh,
Dirty.
he's still
we
kinda
have
cute.
snakeskin, dirty teen lyrics. I love my room, snakeskin. 10 must know finance terms on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull that up for you.
Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield cat rig 3D model 3D Max. Yeah, so
He's
it's
doing
important.
something with Garfield.
It's important, I swear.
Okay, so Arg is a village, a faraway village in somewhere called Rena. Okay,
Rena.
it's like it's Rena, like Rena, Nevada, and this is where the first Arg
Poor guy.
was created and played. But I don't see that here on the page. So I think we are just gonna fix that up real quick.
I love that he just goes right into fucking Wikipedia and starts editing it.
Here's the thing. The fact that he has a Wikipedia like user
There we
account
go.
to do the changes. I don't own a Wikipedia account. Do you?
Yes, actually, I do. But you probably expected that from me, of all people. I'm mostly responsible for the Wikipedia page on Errol Morris's.
Anyway, that's what an ARG is.
On one of Errol Morris's
basically.
movies.
And one of the most famous examples of an ARG
Arg.
was the Garfield
He's a
cartoon,
pirate.
which
Oh.
was done so realistically and with so much detail that for a long time a lot of people believed that Garfield was a real cat. And this effect of believability was made even more so when they made the Garfield movie, and they made Garfield 3D. And here you can see
rigged Garfield
that ARG was
polygons.
referenced in the canonical drawings of the comic book.
Oh.
This is a close-up in case you are
Enhanced.
having trouble with your glasses to help you read the word ARG. Now another ARG that was very popular is something called Pet Shop. A lot of people play Pet Shop. It's a game, it's an ARG about getting pets. And I recently watched the whole thing, and I can tell you that it is very, very boring. So that's actually no. So the problem I have with Pet Shop, it's a pet themed game. It has pets right here in the name, but they don't even bother to reference in any way or form or shape the most famous pet in the world, who is Garfield. And I think that is an unforgivable oversight and missed opportunity. But it does bring me to what I really wanted to talk to you about today, which is a brand new ARG that I made that maybe I made it, or maybe I didn't make it. Maybe it's real videos, because I watched them and they looked pretty real to me. But they are called hold on, that's
Look at
supposed
that
to have
man.
I know.
okay.
is the net profit of 25,000 divided by the total revenue of
Oh right,
100. That gives
I saw that little icon. I was like, why is no music playing? Because I saw the little. Zelda.
Yeah, so that's the name of this new ARG I found, and I will put the
Oh
link
wait,
to it
there's
at the top of
updates.
the page in the
Ren!
description.
Oh, sorry,
Ren!
is there? Welcome back. Where is it? Oh,
We're right there!
there it is. I got it. All right. Update 11:24. I'm starting to think there's a pattern of lyrics in Ashley's favorite Snakeskin songs. I'll be putting them here so I can keep track of my findings. If you put the first letter in every line of Dirty Teen together, you get definitely a pattern. I'm not sure what it means yet. This is just him. Oh.
That really, like, screams to me someone who's, like, paranoid.
By the way, I love the copy pasta that's going on in our chat. It's a pet themed game. Like, it has pets right in the name. And you don't even bother to reference in any way, form, or shape the most famous pet in the world, who is Garfield. And I think this is an unforgivable oversight and a missed opportunity.
And I will put the link to it at the top of the page in the description. And Stock-a-doodle-doo.
Yes, so that is investing in the ARG economy.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. The guy that we just passed by was one of this money guru people who are
is
like,
he really?
you gotta do money guru stuff.
If you click on this the other channel that is in the description, by the way, it takes you to Stockario in the digital world, which is like an actual updated game, although you'll find that his conception of what an ARG is not really how most ARGs work. It's more like a MUD, really. We'll get to that later. Obviously, we'll be able to watch some of those next time. It's a good place to start, and I'll talk to you guys in our Discord about how we want to cover Stockario, because it doesn't end until the end of the series, and it's very sparsely updated. So there's some benefit to just watching it all at once at the end. Well, again, we can talk about that later. So he is just, we've gone full meta text.
Yeah.
We're out there, man. Like fucking
well, it's
God.
kind of like, well, we kind of got the hints of that. It's saying, is Stockroach an ARG? And how do you know if you are an ARG? What is an ARG? And he's kind of like playing into a, hey, people have noticed that this is an ARG and are like, cause like his interactions with Mediocre kind of point that out, like coming, like the character of Stockroach figuring out that he is a character in an ARG, being like, wait, this makes no sense, but also being still the character of Stockroach, so he's completely always doxing himself.
It's like Freeman starring Ryan Reynolds.
I haven't seen that.
Freeman or Good Guy? You mean the one where he's like, he figures out he's in a video game?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's Good Guy or something like that. Freeman, I don't know.
Freeman, yeah. I haven't seen it. I was just making it.
Oh
I think
my
is it still in
God.
theaters? It was one of those ones that I'm like, we should go see this in theaters.
Tron Boomer, is there really a fucking AMA? Oh my God, this is just incredible. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. It hurts me so much because like he captures in an essence what every conversation I've had with somebody who doesn't know what ARGs are in new media scholarship is like. It's so like when you say ARG and they're like, oh, hold on. What are you talking about? You start going on and they're like, oh, so it's like this. And you're like, no, what the fuck are you talking? I do think, and this is the thing I find it just batshit, is like, obviously this is not a game, as a trope of ARGs. I think we've talked about that on this show. Are you guys familiar with that aesthetic? Good. This just like shits on that in some ways, right? Because now he's saying not that he is a game, but he's saying like, I'm making a game and this isn't a game, but I'm making a game, you know? So there's this this thing just folds over on itself. This is why I don't like this is not a game as a part of the definition of ARGs, because it doesn't account for these kind of weird meta moments where the game acknowledges very directly that it's a game.
Yeah.
and this is like the best example I will ever have to talk about that, because but I think there are better fucking ways of describing this, pervasiveness being one of them. You can't have a meta text if you never acknowledge that your game is a text. And we do that all the time.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just not a very helpful aesthetic, I don't think, and at all. And I think like the majority of people who I've met in the community agree with that stance at this point. It's just, it hasn't updated. Also, the Wikipedia shenanigans are real. I love that episode so much, but I hate it with all my entire heart. Truly.
Yeah, it's pushing the boundaries of what is real and not real.
Yes.
Right, in the ARG, very purposefully.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly now you become hyper aware of everything else. Like he's been doing this the whole time, and I think like it is possible to get into Stockroach and be like we said in the first episode, is this a Christian situation? Am I watching somebody just self-destruct online? And then when you see, is Stockroach an ARG? How do I know if I'm an ARG? It's abundantly clear that this is just for show, you know, even if you haven't figured it out thus far. It's a really interesting, from a design standpoint, in this particular ARG, it makes so much sense to do. It is a genius move, I think. I also am like interested in, because it also just like I don't know, remediation gets thrown out all the time. It's a text that we talk about fucking every 5 days a week. Richard Grusin has so many fucking citations from that goddamn text. But see, clearly this is what Grusin would call hypermediation, which is to say it's using a preponderance of media to demonstrate something.
Oh yeah. It's, you know, here's some media, here's some more media, and then to build on top of that.
Yeah.
Such. But yeah.
But at what point does that stack become something? Like, this is something I've been thinking about with Stockroach specifically. At what point does that stack of hypermediation just become something else? You know, because like Stockroach is an embedded text. It's also hypermediated. It's also an ARG within an ARG. And all of these things just become this like network of mishmashed meta ideas. And I don't know if something like hypermediation captures the essence of what's going on here as well as it would for something else.
Well, what happens is you just get enough inception and hypermediation going on that you get down to the dream world, and then you don't know if you're in a dream or you're not until you see the top spinning.
That's what it feels
Sorry,
like.
David. You actually
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think it kind of points to how everything is always hypermediated already, which is very easy to say and a lot harder to prove. But I think I just feel like everything is more infinitely complicated than we give it than we want to acknowledge or give it credit for when it comes to media. Like the development of a movie, right, is so many things layered and edited and put on top of one another, even going back to celluloid way back when.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so I think this idea that we're able to physically see how it's being hypermediated as it's being filmed, right, is basically kind of being like we're seeing the cuts of the celluloid and the layering over of the celluloid happening before our very eyes.
Yeah.
To give that historical perspective, right?
It's not seamless editing. I think that's kind of where I would. It's like
no, and that's the point. And nothing is
of not being seamless. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Stockroach really doesn't. That's kind of what balks when we talk about like mediation stuff and the how we see things getting built as they go. Stockroach doesn't edit anything. He just does. It's quite literally a slice of his life because there's no editing, there's no nothing. It's just him going, I want to do this presentation, and just stream of consciousing it.
And I really wonder when we talk to him, because that is, I remind everybody, that is happening at the end of this. We are having an interview with the Stockroach. I wonder what if we ask, hey, you know, how much editing did you really do for this series? I really wonder if there's an extreme amount of editing at the end of it that we don't realize because it looks so like full of cuts already, or full of guff already. You know?
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing anybody could perform this, even if they're improvising, and get it right the first time. It seems like a really hard performance to pull off. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe. I feel like it's a. It could be a aspect of. My brain just stopped working.
Yeah, my
An
brain
aspect
is
of
still up.
takes.
Mm.
So like you have to do one contiguous take, and he just had to do like 10,000 of them or something like that, like a ridiculous amount. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. He's like, I didn't edit anything, but I did do 50 takes of this one video because it has to be a stream of conscious.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I
Maybe
believe
he's
that.
Stanley Kubricking it and just doing it until it's right.
Well, on that note, since we're all tired, and we just compared Stockroach to Stanley fucking Kubrick, I think we
Yes.
have to end there.
He used
Yeah,
a
I
VM?
also
Yeah,
imagine
totally.
he used a VM or something. That would be interesting to talk to him about. So my understanding right now, just so the audience knows, is that we are going to take a week off because we're all too busy next weekend to shoot something. I might come on and do something, but it won't be Stockroach related. It'll be something entirely different, and it'll probably just be me or one of these guys if they can make it.
It's just gonna be you dramatically reading fan fiction.
Yeah, I mean that could be it. It could just be me sitting there with fan fiction and reading it. I don't know.
Do a nice drinking game.
on the UWM Twitch channel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Yeah. So next week we're probably going to take off. We will be back the week of, for sure, with more Stockroach. The week of the 27th, probably on Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully by then I'll have some graphics and an overlay set up for Streamlabs, so this show will look a little more professional than it does right now. Like, holy shit, thank you guys again for showing up, and like, you know, Circle
Red
and
and
Tambalaya.
Hey,
Yeah,
he
thank
has a
you,
great
everyone.
Circle has a great idea for a stream. Ren and Circle get drunk and rant about Wikipedia.
DM me, Circle. Let's make it happen. Tromboner, mediocre. The lovely lobster,
Tambalaya,
of course.
lovely, groovy
lobster.
Not, well, he's lovely, but he's also groovy. We have to make sure we get that in there. Dikiti came, everyone.
Supreme Yeet, everybody who has joined us so far. We really appreciate it. Again, I'm shocked by how successful this is going, and we're gonna keep making it happen because clearly you guys enjoy it. So yeah, hopefully we'll come back with a week of break and we'll be more professional with the graphics and everything. It'll be really cool. And if we don't, then you'll at least just get the same shit you always get from us, which is our witty banter and dumb opinions about ARGs. And maybe after we're done with Stockroach, we'll do Jaducible. We'll see. Any recommendations that you want in terms of ARGs we could cover on this show, send them my way on Discord or on Twitter or whatever, and I'm just going to add them all to a list, and we're going to do them in no particular order. So, you know, we take fan recommendations and we look at stuff. We would never have looked at Stockroach if Trom hadn't said that it was a thing we should look at. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank
you, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll have Wintergotten play us out.
Bye.
Bye.